freaking out, man. You can't handle the truth. You can't handle the truth. What do all men in power want? More power.
My name is Gianluca Zanna. I was an Italian by birth, and I became an American by choice. Our lives and freedoms are in danger. This is not a drill. If you're listening to this broadcasting, you are the resistance.
All systems go.
Welcome to Love, Guns, and Freedom.
We're not afraid.
Here we go, guys. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna. KTOX 1340 AM and all United States to the FM network. Don't forget also, if you want to listen on the internet, you can go to www.lovegunsfreedom.com. Another Sunday, another show. It's like a marathon, seriously, because it's like a non-stop dream. And every week connects to the other one. And it's almost interesting because we're talking about several different topics. By the end, everything brings to the same direction. That we're all under danger. We're all in danger. And the final goal is for a global mass slavery. We're going to become all slaves on this planet. That's the bottom line. I've been studying that the last few years, and unfortunately I realized that we are getting to this point. Now, the purpose of this show, as I said, is not to entertain. I couldn't care less. You can do whatever you want for entertainment. It's my humble way to share the information that I really think it's vital if we want to regain our freedoms back. And normally I have on these shows, especially in the first hour, I have politicians, we have people running for office or people that are already in office, book authors, and some sort of, whatever you want to call them, personalities. And that's fine. That's great. But at the end of the day, for me, the most important person that I would like to have on my show, it is you. Normal people like myself who took the time, the effort, and the courage, because this is, sometimes to discover the truth, it's an act of courage. The truth can hurt. It is true. Can change your life. I want you on my show, because this, for me, you are the most important person. This battle, this struggle against this global tyranny cannot be won if just few of us or let's say the leaders will just, lead the charge. No. It must be a combined effort, but at the same time an individual effort from all of us. So every one of us, of you in this case, that takes the time to discover or to search the truth. Because why is so important? Because if we don't understand what's really going on, how can we fix it? If we are not educated, if we have no knowledge, we cannot understand what is really the problem. And we're going to be blinded in the darkness and trying to, reach for the enemy that we don't know. So this is so important. Knowledge is the first weapon. And then, of course, I always say, must be followed by action. So today I have the honor to have with me a great lady. I really think she's a great lady because she's very smart, in my opinion, at least for the topics that we're talking here. And I like to see, a woman more than everybody. I like men, I like everybody. This is a struggle, belongs to all of us. But normally, we like to generalize. We think women, they're just, home watching and cooking and watching TV. It's far from truth. I'm meeting many, many women right now in the last few years, so active in this struggle for freedom. And they got more balls than many men I know. And I very had this pleasure to have with me this incredible lady. That, by the way, she's also very good looking, but this is not the topic. This is going to be maybe for topic hour number 3. But I would like just to say, let's just introduce her. Because at this point, I think the most important thing we can do is to have her on the show. And she has some really important information that I think can become some sort of eye-opening to many of us. Because I just learned this stuff not that long ago. Her name is Renee Ann. And I'll go from there. Renee, are you there?
Yes, Luca. How are you?
Very good. Nice to meet you again, and thank you for talking in person. Normally we instant message on Facebook, and I'm glad that I found you because you have a lot of great information to tell us. Can you please, first of all, introduce a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and in general, whatever you want to say. You don't need to say much unless you want to. Go ahead.
My name is Renee. I'm from Indiana. and I'm just a concerned American that wants to be proactive. I think everyone needs to research this and find out for themselves what everything we're saying. It's open, you know. But I think this is the best kept deception that America has. We're aware of the current situation with the terrorism and the refugees. Much like Obamacare, we won't have a say in what goes on in our country. Mm-hmm. And the reason is we're not a country but a corporation.
Wow. 1 second. Let me stop 1 second, because many people say, what the heck are you talking about? You know, guess what? Every time we say something, at least I say something, I know you do too, we have proofs to back it up. So we are not just a corporation means that is a private entity, normally for profit, you know, corporation are for profit, that is far away from what's supposed to be we're supposed to be a republic, a constitutional republic. Now, I'm trying to play devil's advocate, okay? I'm asking you questions. How did you find out that, what type of proofs do you have that we are a corporation? I don't believe. Okay, devil's advocate. Okay. Go ahead.
Let's start with the Act of 1871.
Okay, what is
but
that?
This goes back much further than that, but let's just start there. The Act of 1871. Mm-hmm. The 51st Congress committed treason on we the people, and we were never informed.
Wow.
It was passed on February 21st, 1871, 41st Congress, Session 3, Chapter 62, page 419. Those are some references for all of you to go out there and do this research yourself. Pretty much what happened is after 1871, we just come out of the Civil War. We were broke as a joke. I mean, our country was destitute. So Congress, without our knowledge, cut a deal with the international bankers, the London Rothschilds. So, then keep in mind, the London British people funded both sides of that Civil War, and you can go back and look at that for yourself, too. Mm-hmm.
So what happened exactly? We're talking about, first of all, for the listeners, the Act of 1871 is a piece of official legislation. It's an act of Congress. Everybody can go out there and Google it. It's still on the Library of Congress. This is not a conspiracy, correct? I mean, this is a real evidence that we have.
This is real evidence, and I urge everyone to go out there and listen to that, because we've been duped. You know, we're all thinking we're living the American dream, and we're not. And it goes very much deeper than that.
So how does it work exactly? I want to try to put it in simple words for people to understand. Okay. So Congress passed this act. This act, exactly what does it say? I mean, after America is a corporation, right? It is no more a republic. Right. So, what is the headquarters?
That was we have an original Constitution, the organic Constitution that reads the Constitution for the United States of America, and now our Constitution reads the Constitution of the United States of America. That is a critical. One word can change the meaning of everything, and we don't even know that. It's deception. It's all been in the wording.
Yes, and also another important thing, you know, we're supposed to be these, plural, hopefully my accent got it right, United States of America, okay? Instead, I see that after this Act of 1871, we became the United States of America. Is that correct, or am I wrong?
I didn't look all the way. My biggest thing was that one wording, because then the United States went to capital letters, which all corporations are in capital letters.
Yes.
Let's just make that known, too. And at this point in time, we went from common civil law to maritime admiralty law, which that's a huge difference.
Yes.
Because the law of the land and common law, civil law is one thing. It's following your culture, the laws of the people that are there in that culture, where in this more state, where, example, what we can do in this country, some other countries can't do, civil. And then we go to the law of the sea, which is maritime admiralty law, or merchant, which is like mermaid, you know, the merchant. So, and now we're on the UCC.
Yes,
and the law, which is the Uniform Commercial Code, and it's a worldwide code.
Exactly, and we're supposed to be, the law of the land supposed to be our constitution, and now makes sense why all these acts of Congress, all these legislations, they're completely against the Constitution, because we are not anymore under the Constitution. If we became a corporation, pretty much it's gone. I mean, we are not anymore under republic, but we are under corporation. And just to remind people, where is the headquarters of this corporation? Because there is a place that was created intentionally by Congress. You know where is the place?
Washington, D.C.
Perfect. So that's not even anymore a state. That's like some sort of a magic place that now it is where this corporation was created and founded, and from there you should not have any type of jurisdiction outside that few square miles. But
exactly.
But unfortunately, that's not the case. I mean, now why this is so important? I know many listeners probably they're driving the car. And I'm not talking about my regular listeners. Probably they already know many of these topics. But let's say some new listeners say, what the heck are you talking? It's Sunday. I'm driving around here and I'm listening to the show on the internet. I'm home. Why do we care about the Act of 1871? You know why? Because now when you start to realize that you're forced to pay for a product or for a service, like the healthcare, against your will, and if you don't pay for it, after all, you're going to be fined. You may even go to jail one day. I mean, you realize that we're under slavery. So this is exactly the point. They can do that because we are at this level, correct?
Yes, we are no longer sovereign citizens of America, but capital U.S. citizens.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that.
Yep.
Because it's not for we the people, for the people, by the people. Just replace people with corporation.
Yes. And let's talk about this because it's something at the beginning. I was a few years ago when I somehow woke up, about probably 15 years ago. Somebody started to tell me about the birth certificate, and we are a corporation, and the Social Security. And I thought that was just somebody who was crazy. Say, what are you talking about? This is America. We are not, slaves. Come on, the birth certificate is the birth certificate. And then he started to talk about the collateral.
We're an asset.
Yeah, give us the story. This is all happened, by the way, not that far ago. We're talking about during the Big Depression with FDR, correct?
Yes.
Give me some more details. Please.
But it goes back all the way back to, and follow me here, people, with the wording, the birth. Okay, let's go to birth, because when a ship, this is where I come back to maritime admiralty law, where we're under maritime admiralty law. Mm-hmm. When a ship goes into dock, it births. Okay, it comes into the water canal and it births. Think about women, everybody. The ship's names are always female. Think about this, please. So you come into the ship and the ship births. When the captain gets off, the delivery guy gets off, he gets a certificate and gives you a weight. So it really goes back more than this. But what people need to understand is that our birth certificates are sold on the New York Stock Exchange. They are issued a CUSIP, and that's CUSIP number, and you can look your own number up. Go to www.activequote.fidelity.com /MMNET.
Wow. Say it again one more time. This is so important. Please go ahead one more time.
Your birth certificates are sold on the New York Stock Exchange. They are issued a CUSIP number. It's normally a 9-digit number, but it's on your birth certificate. You can look that number up at www.activequote, all one word, .fidelity.com /MMNET.
Wow, this is amazing. This is amazing information. I'm so glad I have you on, because I point the guys, like the Matrix, you think you're free, because the best slavery is the one that you are not aware of your slavery. So you can perform and you can do more, you can produce more. Think about it. When you were a slave, you don't have a will. If you were really a slave, like, in the ancient Rome with a chain around your neck, you're not motivated to produce. After all, why should you? I mean, you do just the minimum so you don't get beat up or you don't get killed by the master.
And that goes back to the 14th Amendment equally so, because the 14th Amendment really talked about citizenship. At that point in time, it was already in the works. This whole thing has been, in my opinion, in the works from the time we set foot here in the colonies, which some say that we were colonized as a farm in order to feed the system. I hate to be that way, and that's horrible. It makes me really angry to think that.
If you think about it, this part is true, and we have also evidence from George Washington. He wrote letters that he was really worried about the infiltration of Illuminati in the groups of the Masonry. That, Masonry, most of the founding fathers were Masons, but the Masonry was infiltrated by this new group coming from Europe of Illuminatis. And bottom line, all this behind Illuminati, they were these international bankers. They were trying to create, since the beginning, they were trying to push for this central private bank. There was, Thomas Jefferson, fighting for, what was the other one? Madison? I forgot. Anyway, they were trying to fight each other. There were two type of groups. One group that wanted the private central bank since the beginning. And let's not forget what it means to have a private central bank. This is exactly what we have today. We have a private corporation, like in this case, the Private Federal Reserve, that automatically, because act of magic, I guess, have the supreme power, there's this magic power to print, at least to issue. They don't print anymore, it's digital now, but even if they had to print more currency out of thin air for us, the slaves, and then just because they can do that, we have to pay back with our labor the interest. For every dollar they print or they issue, we must pay interest. And that's become some sort of serf system. It's a slavery. Why as a sovereign country, should we give that type of power and pay the interest to a corporate entity like private bankers? We could do that ourselves as a nation, and that's exactly what happened to us. We got enslaved, and now, as you were saying, a birth certificate become an asset because we are in debt.
Yes, and it goes all the way back to, think about the two people that are not presidents on our bill, Hamilton and Franklin. And Hamilton was one of the first ones that created a banking system, which technically the forefathers never wanted a banking system.
Yes.
There's a whole story about that. But anyway, let's go back to the birth certificates and the Federal Reserve Bank. It is, just because it says federal, it is privately owned. We do not own that bank. The United States does not own that bank. It is owned by these corporations, these people.
Yes.
And in 1984, Ronald Reagan did a study to see how the income tax was used. Mm-hmm. Guess what, folks? It all went out the country. And the IRS collects for the Federal Reserve.
Yes, exactly. And I said about that a few times myself, talking about the act of this independent investigation by President Reagan. Find out that all the interest, all the income tax that we pay to the IRS, all it does, it pays the debt, the interest, on the debt. All it does. So right there, and this is not just an American problem. Italy, Europe is all the same. The central bankers created this system a long time ago, and of course America is supposed to be, they fought very hard to try to submit it. And finally, under President Wilson, this is all official records, people can find out, in 1913, finally, and I've been sarcastic, the Federal Reserve Act was passed, and this nation completely became in bondage. That's where we are, And I would like to say this. This is so important because if I had to say all the topics normally I bring here, from the loss of freedoms, loss of rights, and how this government is out of control, it's all connects to this. If we do not control the government like we're supposed to, we the people, but there is a bunch of, a small group of elite of bankers that through the power of issuing currency control the government, that's what they do. It's all an illusion. We are fighting like against ghosts. We must first understand who's really behind the curtains. I'm so glad you're bringing this up. Now, let's talk about a little more about this birth certificate, also in the sense of Social Security, and also in the sense of think about how the system is. You are a person, you go to work, and you have no options. Your money, even if you don't want to be part of this Ponzi scheme, because at least the Ponzi scheme, you accept it voluntarily, okay? When you submit yourself to the Social Security, you have no option. They take your money out of your pocket every week or every month without your will. And that point, right there, I think that's called for me slavery. When somebody tells you how you can spend your money after you work, you're supposed to have freedom to choose if you want to be part of that system or not. What do you think about that?
Well, everyone now, I mean, it's went to now where you no longer get a check that you take to the bank and you can just sign your signature and get your cash. Now everything's got to be automatically deposited. Everything's in this automatic, I call it artificial intelligent world. But every bank signature card, and think about this, you can't live practically anywhere without having a bank, to do business out of. Your bank signature card, when you sign that to prove your signature, you are agreeing to follow the admiralty laws, the maritime admiralty law, which forfeits your rights as a human, as an individual. Now you are a U.S. citizen, that property.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, your zip codes are another federally issued thing, and the zip codes are broke down into divisions, and I laugh about it and call them FEMA camp divisions, but you can't send a letter without a zip code. You have to give that zip code. You have to get your mail with a zip code. So there's several things that we get duped on that you don't have an option. You just got to do it in order to live, in order to go.
Yes, exactly. I mean, this is exactly the point. It's like the matrix. We are living in a matrix. The problem that many of us, we don't even know. Because exactly that's the big strength of the matrix. You are a slave, but you're not even aware. And I think it was Goethe, the German writer, I forgot how to paraphrase it, but there are mostly, if you're a slave, especially when you don't know that you are, I mean, there is nothing more, I need to find out when I read it correctly, but bottom line, we need to really go deep to this information because it's so vital. And I tell you, probably many people cannot face it. I know many people, they feel comfortable in their little funny world and they think, why you even bother to talk about this? I want to pay my mortgage. I kids to raise and I want to be left alone. But guess what? The problem is that you're not going to be left alone. You're going to lose anyway, anything. That's the bottom line.
Just think of it like this. Everything you're working for your kids, your family, it's not really yours. Just if you really think about this, they can come in and take eminent domain at any time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy because we've had even militia acts go back to the Militia Acts of 1792. Mm-hmm. And let me see if I have it. Organizations of the state militia, and it provides for the president, but pretty much when Congress takes over. Not the president instructs the military. He is the commander-in-chief, but pretty much it. And so why do we think we have so many congressmen and women that are just living in Congress? Because they're in control of the country. They are the ones we're going to have to get rid of because they're part of the problem.
Yeah.
And to me, we've never went out of it. But from the Militia Act, it turned into the War Powers Act. And if you notice, every time there's been a huge incident like Pearl Harbor, like when we declared war in Germany, Fernando, I think his name, got shot, assassin. He was assassinated. I mean, there's so many things that's happened. 9/11, we went to the USA Patriotic Act. I mean, it's just taken our civil liberties that we thought we had, but it's really taking more away.
Yeah, exactly. More away is the right word because technically we lost them a long time ago, but now they're making it legal. I mean, the point is now they think they have the excuse to conquer the minds and hearts of people to make it legal. Before they used to do anyway. I mean, after all, let's think about it. If they want to get your property, they'll get your property. As you said, eminent domain, now they also passed the Supreme Court said that if there is an excuse, like a reason that a private business can generate more revenues in taxes, they can take your property. This is not anymore for the public good. This is also just because some corporation can justify they can make more money on that road, on that piece of land, and they can take your house. And let's not forget, when people think, I'm free, listen, I love this country, and I really wanted to bring it back. But first of all, if we want to bring it back, we must admit that we are not free anymore. We lost it. If you go around still saying, the land of the free or the brave, I'm sorry. We lost it. And I'm not trying to be downer. I want to be realistic. If you want to get it back, first we must admit it. It is. Lost it. So, for example, I'll give you an example, guys. You drive, you think you're free, you think you own property. After all, you own a house. You are a homeowner. No, you are not. You're just a rental. Okay? The bottom line is the moment that you don't pay your property taxes every year, you're gone. You're going to live under the bridge. Okay? That's the bottom line. And you know what? The same story with this principle now, with this type of concept. They can use this property tax on a house, then they use it on a car. Of course, it's called registration every year because, they put it under the registration. But that's another way. They pretty much tell you that that's not really your car. But at this point, why not do it also on your laundry machine or maybe on your couch? Hey, they should do on your shoes. After all, you should pay a registration fee on your shoes because you walk over the land or at least over the roads, the government building. Think about it, how much of open gate now we have to hell. And let's continue down this road. They can tell you, I always bring this up on my show, Renee, the seat belt, okay? Yep. The seat belt for me, people say, what the heck? What is your problem? You need to put your seat belt. It's for your safety. Okay, guess what? It is my body. You're not my father. You're not my mother. Don't tell me it is for my safety. I understand if this would be a danger to others. But the point that the government, when the government has the power to tell you that they own your body, because there is no justification to others people's rights, to protect other people's rights. This is just about to show who is boss. You are not the boss of your body. The government is. We are slaves. Yeah. That's the bottom line. And the federal government was able to do that. And then, of course, from there to the Obamacare, why you complain about Obamacare? You didn't complain about the seatbelt. You didn't complain about your helmet. You didn't complain about property taxes. And the list goes on, So that's where we are. And makes sense now, reconnecting all this with Renee about this act, Congress Act of 1871. And I challenge everybody out there to go check it out. And I challenge Go ahead, Renee, please, sorry.
Me too. What you said is implied consent. That's exactly how they have gotten us, because we thought we were under our organic constitution and they couldn't take our rights and freedoms away. Well, if I come up and take your bottle of wine and walk away with it and you don't say, no, that's fine, it's implied consent that next time I can come up and take it. It's just that simple.
Exactly.
And register, just think of this, REGI, look it up, it's king. So every time you register something, you're registering it to the king.
Exactly. Exactly. And let's not forget the word license. There is a license for everything now. I mean, even if you want to have, let's say, a little addition to your house or build a chicken coop, a permit. I mean, a license to hunt, a license to fish, a license to work. I mean, if I want to operate a business, I must have a license. What is the difference from now on the time of the kings? You need to have a license. You need to have the permit from the king to go on king's land if you wanted to farm or if you wanted to hunt. Same story now. Now, it's a little more sophisticated because we believe, or at least some of us still believe, that we are free human beings or free Americans. I'm sorry. This is not anymore the case. And you realize that you're not free only when you will try to exercise your rights. Till you are calm and peaceful and a good slave, you think everything is fine. But when you start to exercise your rights, you will see that you're not going to fly that far away. And by the way, I would like to remind everybody out there, this is not a show about trying to bring negativity or say, oh my God, this is all so dark. No, this is about reality. Because I said many times, we can avoid, you can avoid to listen to reality. That's your right. If you want to be like a little, I don't know, the animal that put the head on the ground, fine. But the point is, you will not be able to avoid consequences of reality. Okay? At this point, we still have a chance together and as individuals to start to speak up, and start to learn, and start to share this information, and finally, with enough good people, maybe we have a chance to get it back in Congress peacefully. That's my goal. But I want to say something. Right now, we are not living anymore in a free country, also for another reason. That probably you may not believe about all the other things I'm talking about with Renee. There is one thing that should really now shake your back and give you a chill all the way down your spine. Okay? It's called the National Defense Authorization Act of 2012, Indefinite Detention. You know, Renee, very well what it's about, right?
Yeah, well, it's pretty much they can detain you for no reason, no nothing, and you don't have any say. You get detained. They can take you away, and you don't get the phone call from jail.
Yeah, this is not even anymore the jail. This is about in the dungeon. You disappear, and they can use the military completely in violation of posse comitatus, and we go back here before the pre-Magna Carta. I mean, the Magna Carta, I hope I pronounce it right, was a very important piece of legislation, or at least a document, a foundation of freedom that brought us away from the Middle Ages, when the king, just because he likes it, he can kill you. Maybe because he wants to get your wife, or maybe he wants to get your home. You disappear. With the Magna Carta, the king, he needed to have a body of the crime. He needed to have a legal reason, a due process before he can put you in jail. Now, in the America that we think is free, we think that we under the Constitution, our Bill of Rights is completely being gutted. I mean, think about it. Under the National Defense Authorization Act of 2012, with this special part, there was the indefinite detention that the administration, Obama, intentionally wanted to add it. And this is according also to a video that you can see of Senator Levine, that, he was saying, by the way, don't be mad at me. The administration wanted this part. Okay, worse than Bush on this part, because Bush was with the Patriot Act. This is the Patriot Act on steroids. Any one of us, Americans or not Americans, we can be declared terrorist and detained indefinitely just because suspected. Not, there is no process, no trial, nothing, no jury, no judges, nothing. We can be, now me and you, Renee, we can just be saying, by the way, the government, even by accident, let's say by accident, our last name sounds funny, and they put us on the wrong database. We can be detained indefinitely and completely gone. No more. No, this is amazing. I still, after all these years.
I think most of the people who are speaking out are already on a database. I mean, I hate to be that way, folks, but wake up, really. This is serious. This is very serious, because the Sedition Act will fall right at where, the Sedition Act, where you couldn't speak out against the government during war times,
Exactly.
I mean, we've never stopped,
Not important is part about never stop, FDR, people don't know, there are some executive orders that they are still in effect since the Depression. FDR executive order, we've been under emergency laws. And these emergency acts never been repealed, I mean, do you know anything about that?
Well, what I do know is that FDR created, during that time of World War II, I think it was. I mean,
even
the Japanese was over here.
Yes.
And in a nutshell, what happened was he created I call it the FBI CIAP branch, and I've got specific notes here somewhere on that. But anyway, a branch was created to start watching people specifically. And since that's happened, it's never stopped, because then he started recording, people and keeping records, and blackmail started going rampant then. And you can thank J. Edgar Hoover for that one, which he's been in power play for a long time, and J. Edgar Hoover was a SOB.
Listen, people must understand that during the Depression, before even the Second World War, I mean, we had already situations of martial law. When the government can confiscate your property, okay, with force, and you can face 10 years in jail just because you own gold that you work for, okay? And they can tell you, now it's our gold, and not even our gold. You need to deposit to any type of branches in America of the Federal Reserve, that we know that they are all private. There was a complete, act of tyranny. And just think about it.
That was treason.
Yeah.
That was treason.
Yes. National Emergency Act, okay? This is so important. People need to check it out. There is so much going on. But my point today, I want just to scratch the surface. And, I give you some keywords. I would like to everybody start to go for it. We don't have enough time to go through every one of these specifically. The Trading with the Enemy Act of 1917, okay? Mm-hmm. Trading with the Enemy Act of 1917. Go check it out, okay? Then you have with Franklin Roosevelt, okay, FDR. We have other pieces of legislation, very important. Been talking about the opportunity, the pretty much the act of tyranny of the government to force you to get your gold without your consent and donate. It's funny almost. Give it this gold to these private corporations called Federal Reserve. Okay, National Emergency Act. Okay, that's another one. And then you have to think about the power of a man. to decide just because you look like Japanese, or maybe just because you sound Italian, and you have Italian background, or maybe German, but you're an American, okay? The Japanese that went to the camps, they weren't Japanese, they were Americans, okay? Just because maybe they had their grandfather was Japanese. Guess what? This man, with an act of, as Obama, with some pen, ink and paper, they decided that, he destroyed the lives of millions of people, at least hundreds of thousands of people, completely putting them in camps for years with their business ruined, lost their homes and everything else. So that's martial law right there, okay? And it's still on, never been repealed. These war powers that the FDR enabled himself with the executive orders, never been repealed. We're still under this. So that's the point. That's the point. Are you there, Renee?
Yes, I'm here. Yes.
Listen, I want to say something. As I said, we want just to scratch the surface here, and I want just to give keywords. But the most important thing I want to say, I want to say thank you for learning all this stuff. And I would like to ask you a couple of questions. When did you start to wake up? I mean, this is a lot of information. It's like a journey. I know, because I'm still myself every day learning new things. When did you wake up, Renee, from Indiana?
When I was studying in college, I was going to major in political science, and I realized that I was going to a college that, and I won't say the name or nothing like that, but I was going to a college that wanted to instill liberalism and the socialist concept into my brain. At least most of them did anyway, and I realized then, wow, man, we're living in a corrupt world. And just craziness. And someone said, look up burger builders. And I said, well, what are you talking about, burger builders? And as from there, at one time, you can look up them. There's the Bohemian Grove, Skull and Bones, the list goes on. Illuminati, Cabal, it's all called the Zionist movement. Please check the videos out on Zionism. And it's not just a Jewish thing. That's not what I'm trying to get at either, because I love all people. Treat me good, I'll treat you better. It doesn't matter. They want us divided. They want us in the streets rioting because then they control us. Fear controls us. And that's all this is fear. It's good versus evil, people. That's where we're at.
And, since you brought it up, this is so important because, already you can see the people laughing, the typical idiots out there. Oh, the Bilderbergers. Oh, the what is the name? The Skull and Bones. Oh, this is all real stuff, documented. And let's talk about the most important things out there. I mean, they're all important, okay? Skull and Bones is a secret society that we know Bush father and Bush son and Cheney and Kerry, they were all part of it. And so secret, you must see the rituals. I mean, I wouldn't give my dog on the leash to a man that goes through the type of perverted secret rituals and things like that. But talking about the Bohemian Groves, there is a video out there by Alex Jones. Everybody should watch. This Bohemian Groves is proven. They are all our most important politicians and people in the government and also in the private business, they've been attending it for the last 100 years. And presidents go there. And let me tell you something. You gotta, first of all, watch that. Go to check it out, Bohemian Groves, video by Alex Jones. And you will see exactly what's going on in this private place. This is like a sort of satanic ritual. And the cremation of care, the simulation of burning a little baby, innocent baby. And you gotta just watch. And then you tell me if any of these politicians deserve your vote or deserve your trust. We have a problem here. This is a really evil system that it's hidden from our own eyes, but it's out there in plain view if you want to see it. That's the bottom line. We must expose it. That's the bottom line. I want to say, Renee, I don't want to say enough because there is so much to say about this, but before, I want to change 1 second topic now. You sound like such a very dedicated lady to the truth, to try to learn all this stuff. Is it easy for you to find a person, in this case, I don't know, a boyfriend or I don't know if you're married, I don't know, but a friend that, like from the other sex, that you can spend time. First of all, are you married, if I can ask you? I mean, not because I want to get private.
No, I'm divorced.
Okay.
Me and my ex-husband are really good friends, thank God.
Good, excellent. But now, the point is, he was able to understand all the things you were saying when you were together?
I think it upsets the average man if they're manly, I should say. I think it upsets them. I know I can't talk about this with my parents because it just really upsets them because people don't want to know the truth.
Yeah.
When they know the truth, and when the first time I found out that we were sold on the stock, I mean, I cried. I'll be the first to say, I sit down and cried because I was like, no way, you know, but I'm done crying, man. Everybody needs to wake up and really take action in this. But I don't find people that are willing to discuss this. I have a few friends, but most of the time they're into whatever's on TV I don't even know because I don't watch reality TV.
Yeah. No, I understand. And this is exactly the problem. Sometimes we feel isolated. We feel it's difficult after you learn all this truth to go back in the matrix and fake it. You know, I say, okay, and even put up with idiots out there. I can't anymore. I mean, seriously, I'm not going to try to say that I'm smarter, but I'm sorry. I'm not going to share even a glass of water with somebody that doesn't want to at least learn. I'm not saying that
I agree.
You know, at least you want to have an open mind, you know, and then we can debate and then we can say, okay, these are the facts, the proofs. I don't want to be right, but at least let's have a serious conversation about this and stop snickering and laughing like we're a bunch of crazy. Now, another important thing.
You got to get thick skin to talk about this.
Yes. And I want to say, you know, I want to invite everybody out there on the show that, yes, information, if you take the time to learn about a topic, could be the vaccine, could be the GMO, could be the Federal Reserve, could be the Patriot Act, could be about the invasion of the illegal aliens, anything that has to do defending our freedoms, defending our sovereignty, defending our Bill of Rights and Constitution. You are my brother and my sister. And I don't care which party, I don't care which sex, I don't care your accent because mine is bad enough. I want you on, okay? I just want to give you that type of opportunity to show other people out there that now is time the average person do incredible things. And the most incredible thing we can do is an act of love to learn, be sure that we are not afraid to face the truth and share it. That's the only way we can stop evil. Evil flourish in the darkness. We must expose it with knowledge. That's, I really believe, is so important. Now, on the little personal things, what do you like to do for, you know, in Indiana when you don't work and when you don't, you know, get some, because I know myself sometimes I need to take a break and it's so much, you know, overwhelming all this information. I need to take a break for a moment. What is your hobby? What you like to do? I don't know. What do you do in private life?
Thanks to Obamacare, I'm not on Obamacare. I want to mention that, by the way. I refuse to be part of the system, and for the years of my life that I've been an adult, I always took pride in taking care of myself and having insurance, but now that it's forced upon me, I'm just a little about it. So I don't do that, and I don't wear my seatbelt all the time either, folks. I just want you to know, because I feel like a rebellion, you know, but yeah, I like to walk, I like to take pictures, I enjoy my family, two beautiful godchildren and my nieces and nephews, and so I enjoy that and my family and being outside mostly. I like nature.
Perfect.
It's cold now here, so I don't want to be outside right now.
Renee, if somebody was to contact you, can I say that also you are on freedomlovers.us?
Yes.
Perfect. So this is exactly, you know, you're for me the perfect candidate for that website that I created. And freedomlovers.us is a free network site, not just dating. You know, I'm not looking just for a date or for, I mean, of course, I hope you can find the love of your life or at least a good friend. But the idea is to network with like-minded people who are not afraid of facing the truth and want to be free human beings. So please, I'm so glad you joined it, and it's free. And go to freedomlovers.us, create an account, put your photos. By the way, there are blog section. Renee, I'm sure you watched that. There is a section you can create a blog. You can upload your videos. You can share photos. And there is also a classified section. I want to put in a way that everybody can share information or even products, okay? So please, I'm glad you're there, and I hope you can find some good friends there. That they, you know, that will be very great. Renee, I want to give you the microphone before I change. I need to go to another topic. 60 seconds, whatever you want to say.
Well, I just want to thank you for your radio show, Luca. I really appreciate the opportunity. And to all my Americans out there, I say Americans because I don't want to be a U.S. citizen. That's a corporation. To all my Americans out there, please do your research. I pray for our country. I pray for everyone. We're all in this together. We are one as a planet. It's not us versus, it is us versus them, not race, not gender, not sex. It is us people, the original human being, against something that research, do your research. It will really blow your mind. And again, thank you, Luca, for the opportunity to share my thoughts, my concerns. And just let me say, I'm wishing everyone the best, and I pray for our world.
Yes, and I thank you, and I thank everybody out there for sharing this show and to share this information. Now, before we go to the second hour, we have a little bit more of news and a little song that I would like to dedicate to Renee and to all the ladies out there who are not afraid to face the truth, and they're fighting for our rights in this country and around the world. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna. Do not go away.
Give me liberty or give me death. I'll fight till the end, till my last breath. Give me liberty or give me death. I'll stand against tyranny. My soul will never rest. There is no longer any room for hope. If we wish to be free, there is no retreat but in submission and slavery. We have petitioned, we have remonstrated, we have supplicated, we have prostrated. Is life so dear or peace so sweet as to be purchased as the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death. Give me liberty or give me death. I'll fight till the end, till my last breath. Give me liberty or give me death. I'll stand against tyranny. My soul will never rest. Give me liberty or give me death. I'll trade my life for freedom with no regret. It is natural to man to indulge in the illusions of hope. We are apt to shut our eyes against a painful truth and listen to the song of that siren till she transforms us into beasts. For my part, whatever anguish of spirit it may cost, I am willing to know the whole truth, to know the worst, and provide for it. Give me liberty or give me death. Give me liberty or give me death. I'll fight till the end, till my last breath. Give me liberty or give me death. I'll stand against tyranny. My soul will never rest. Give me liberty or give me death. I'll trade my life for freedom with no regret. Give me liberty or give me death.
He's a songwriter, a poet, a rifleman.
I'm not afraid.
And a constitutional activist.
I'm not afraid.
Italian by birth.
I'm not afraid.
American by choice. Gianluca Zanna.
I'm not afraid.
And his new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom. 16 powerful songs on one CD from the heart of a patriot. or download or to order the CD, go to www.lovegunsfreedom.com. That's www.lovegunsfreedom.com. Lyrics for your mind, music for your heart. Gianluca Zanna's new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom.
Here we go, guys. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna. This is the first hour. This show is being produced during the week. So if you're listening right now on the radio on KTOX 1340 AM, I'm sure you're already aware of what happened in San Bernardino, California with this terroristic attack, okay? Now, you already heard a lot, okay? And sometimes it's almost so just tiring, just stressful to try to fight the illogical mindset of these delusional individuals, starting from the scumbag called Obama, that is an insult to all the intelligence, to every type of reasoning. But we know very well these people, they're not just dumb or stupid when they try to push their agenda. It is not because they are completely stupid. Yes, they're also stupid and moronic. That's a fact. I'll show you later how can somebody like Senator Boxer can be so stupid all the way. But the point is they have an agenda, okay? They have an agenda, and I'm not going to spend too much time. I don't want to give them too much credit even to debate. There is no debate, as I said. I don't care. This is the point. This is a right. These people are tyrants. These people, they understand that if they want to completely dominate us, destroy this country in every way they can, they need to disarm the American people. That's the bottom line. I'm not going to go there now if this was a false flag or not. There are a lot of things, of course, they don't really adds up, I must tell you. A lot of things I'll talk to you in the second hour. But the point is, regardless, you're not going to get our guns. That's the bottom line. You're not going to start to do fancy executive orders, Mr. Obama, just because you think you're Hitler, in brown. Okay? That's not going to fly. I'm telling you. So anyway, the point is, I'm going to talk a little bit about it during the second hour. What happened at San Bernardino in this sort of very mysterious terrorist act. There are a lot of questions that I don't have the answers. But regardless, I'm going to focus on how our rights are under attack. That's a fact. That's the truth. And also how we are in danger. I don't care if it's a false flag or not. People are dead. Okay, I have with me a guest that lives 3 blocks from there. I had him just a couple of weeks ago. My friend Ronald from San Bernardino is running for a state senator for the Democratic ticket for California. Guess what? He's one of the few Democrats in the world that I support and I defend and I respect. This guy understands, has logic, has brain. Understand that when there are bad people out there, you do not disarm good people, okay? You do not pass more gun control laws, because that's all you do. You just give them, the bad people, more opportunity to do evil acts. Think about it. California has the toughest gun control in the states, okay? The toughest. It's a gun control free zone. Think about it. Where all that happened was in this county building. It's not even can have you cannot even have a slingshot. So the point is, evil people don't care about these gun control laws. All they do is just to disarm and put in danger us, with the people. And on top, let's not forget the Second Amendment. It's a right, Mr. Obama and all the scumbags politicians. You think you can use this crisis. You are so disgusting. Seriously. You are disgusting, make me puke. You don't even stop in front of dead bodies just to pass your agenda. This is like a pack of coyotes, feasting on dead bodies. Seriously. Anyway, so don't go away. We're going to talk second hour a little bit about what happened in San Bernardino, also from a point of view of gun rights. How we need to stop this nonsense. How this is almost ridiculous. And it's almost sad and funny the same way. If it wasn't so serious, it would be funny. One thing we've proven with the San Bernardino shooting, number one, gun control doesn't work. Period. That's a fact. Number two, guess what? Media are pack of liars. Not only the politicians, but this media, immediately, MSNBC or CNN, they were already not even having the data, the information. They were blaming it all on the white man, right-wing militia. I mean, this is so insane. You should feel ashamed of yourself. Seriously. And so the politicians. So that's the bottom. And these actors, I don't even want to waste the time because I don't even follow their names. But, you know, it's been all over. You know, you could see on their little Twitter accounts, not even knowing the facts, immediately blaming on the NRA, or blaming on guns, or blaming on the white people. Every white man should not have, guns because they say so. This is like a mental disease. I start really to believe this is a mental disorder. And then when you listen to these politicians like, Obama going with this, Obama we know. He's just following his plan. That's the point. But there are some other politicians that they really believe this stuff. Seriously. Anyway, guys, listen. So let's try to keep it cool. And also, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to waste all the time on these pigs, okay, starting from Obama, okay? These communist pieces of crap, they're not going to get all our time. Well, we'll talk a little bit with Ronald O'Donnell, and also we'll talk about training. That's the most important thing. And what to do to be proactive, to defend ourselves and our family. Training ideas, second hour. And then we have more very important news in the final hour, super special guest, Ammon Bundy. We'll talk about a very important act of love. So don't go away, please. And don't forget, if you want to support the show, you know what to do. All you have to do is go to my website, zanna.us. With just 99 cents, you can download any of my songs. And I appreciate your help. So, here we go, my friends. Keep it cool, because I tell you, sometimes I lose my mind here. It's getting out of control. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Lucas Zanna on KTOX 1340 AM and also on lovegunsfreedom.com. Don't go away. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Lucas Zanna on United States.FM Network.
The suspects had not even been confronted by authorities in that shootout, nor had the victims been identified before President Obama linked the shootings to America's gun laws, with no mention of possible Islamic terrorism. Today, he concentrated on the former and only hinted at the latter. Correspondent Peter Ducey is at the White House tonight.
Thank you very much, Obama.
Today, after huddling with his national security team, President Obama announced it's unclear why a couple in California carried out a coordinated attack.
It is possible that this was terrorist-related, but we don't know. It's also possible that this was workplace-related.
Despite that mystery, the president said he knows how to stop future attacks similar to San Bernadino.
Common sense gun safety laws, stronger background checks.
Does the president really think that common sense gun laws would deter terrorists now that he has admitted these two may have been terrorists?
Yes.
But so the president thinks that when there are potentially two terrorists sitting around planning a mass murder, they may call it off because President Obama has put in place common sense gun laws.
Sensible gun laws work. We've proven it in California, and we're not going to give up.
Here we go, guys. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Lucas Zanna. This is the second hour. It's all about guns. Unfortunately, what happened in San Bernardino is going to make a little bit of change of this radio show today. I'd like to bring in a guest that also I think is one of the best person that I know from California, especially this gentleman, is a guy that I really respect a lot. Is a Democrat, but is a very different type of Democrat, in my opinion. Is a man who upholds the Constitution, at least when it comes down, for sure, in the Second Amendment, understands that. And he took a lot of flack in the past in his own party to try to just put some common sense, to try to understand that to have open borders is not something that Americans deserve for not just jobs, of course that would be bad enough, but also for national security. And the fact that now that these gun control laws, we're talking about California here after all, the one of the strictest state for gun control laws, is not working. You know, you just heard a few minutes ago Senator Boxer saying that gun control laws in California are working great. I don't think so. Gun-free zone is the highest, the most dangerous place for high death. And that's the point. So I hope my message, why I want to bring Ronald here, because I'm trying to reach out to, let's say, what's supposed to be the other side, but I believe there are no sides. There are only good people and idiots. That's why I say, Americans, let's unite. Democrats, come on, stop playing politics. Let's use common sense. That's why I want to try to reach out the Democrats now, that they can do something in their own party to try to say, hey, California people should have the right to defend themselves too. That's the bottom line. So I want to bring Ronald O'Donnell, that also is running for state senate in California, and is exactly in San Bernardino. I mean, this is exactly happened just behind his block. Ronald, are you there?
Yes, I am. Good morning, Luca. It's my pleasure to speak with you again.
Perfect. I'm sad that we had to talk in this type of situation, because, I hate to say you were right. I hate to say myself we were right. I hope always we were wrong. But unfortunately, we were talking about this stuff for the last few months, about what's happening right now with gun laws, of course, but also with this situation that I don't know exactly what happened in details, but for all we know, this is an act of terror, or at least is an act that looks like an act of terror. And unfortunately, politically correctness, they didn't want to talk about it. I'm sure you heard about this neighbor that he was there talking on the news, that he's been witnessing the last few weeks suspicious activities of delivering packages, but he admitted that he didn't want to talk about it because he was afraid to be called a racist. So what do you think, first of all, happened there? Let's put it in this way. Did you see dead bodies? Because a lot of things on the internet going around that people think that nobody died. I want to ask your opinion. And I'm here with an open mind. Of course, I believe people are dead. There are really dead people. But I want to know what you watch with your own eyes.
Okay, well, first of all, I just want to go ahead and say to everyone out there, let's go ahead and just take a moment of silence for the families of the deceased and the deceased who were just simply school teachers, no one told you that, that taught autistic children.
Wow.
We have 14 deceased school teachers and 17 wounded, total of 31, just in one little city, San Bernardino, California, which is in my district. And I'd just like to take maybe 30 seconds and ask people, whoever they believe in, whatever God they believe in, to please ask that spirit above. We're below. We don't know where God lies. Not with this type of carnage anymore. 30 seconds.
Okay. Here we go. We are back. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna. I'm on the air with Ronald O'Donnell from California, and we're talking about what happened in San Bernardino. And most important, we try to understand, first of all, that our rights are under attack. And we want to try to reach out here people that normally would be considered like on the other side, in the Democratic Party, that always been supporting politicians for gun control. Gun control is not the answer. And I'm glad that Ronald is really breaking the ranks. I mean, he did that a long time ago. You as a Democrat always been advocating that people have right to defend themselves, not just against criminals, but also against the government. And his Second Amendment right is not an opinion. It's a fact, like the First Amendment. So I want you here, first of all, tell me a little bit, according to your latest news, what do you know about what happened in San Bernardino, this terror act, that you are pretty much not that far from there? How far do you live from this place?
I live exactly 5 miles from the site.
Oh my gosh, you're really, really close. So
yeah, and then the house where they discovered the IEDs, I live exactly 5 miles from that site.
Wow.
Redlands is that's the home of the terrorists, is only 5 miles. I can actually, from my front porch, I'm on the hill, I can, with a telescope, see their house.
Wow, wow.
From my porch, like Sarah Palin said, I can see Russia from my porch. But, it's a little humor there. But I'm trying to go ahead and keep this show of yours with the spirit, a little bit of hope, a little bit of courage. But what I'm saying is, 5 miles to my right, when I walk out in my front porch and look, there are 31 wounded people from terrorists, radical Islamic Muslim terrorists, which we're not allowed to say if we want to be politically correct. I think you know that.
Mm-hmm.
I think you've seen news reports all across this country on all the television stations, but they're afraid to say the words because they want to be politically offensive, you know.
But Ronald, one second. You know what is very sad about the news? They have all this agenda. The bodies were not even dead yet, and immediately different networks started to talk about white male militia people. These white people should have guns. No white man should have guns. And of course,
exactly.
But then,
and that's why I asked you to allow me to be on your show.
Yes, please go ahead.
The initial response here. And I just want to open for your audience about the dead bodies.
Yes.
My daughter works for San Bernardino County.
Wow.
And she teaches autistic children.
Wow.
And she was not at that party.
Thank God.
She has five teachers thereabouts that work for her.
Wow.
She's a private contractor for San Bernardino County Autistic Children Program.
Wow. So
she's not at the party.
A
lot of the people that are dead are her friends.
Exactly. That's why I'm so glad. I mean, I'm sorry to bring you in this situation, but at least I know my goal is to bring facts, okay? I'm not for opinions. I'm not for conspiracy. If I think or bring something that may be, let's say, I always bring facts and proofs. Even when things are kind of controversial, I like to bring facts. So I really deeply believe
the facts are, and this is what has me livid when I look on the internet. And I see people that have no idea what the hell is going on. They must have some kind of other agenda, saying that it's a false flag, saying that there's no dead bodies here. Well, when I went to the morgue, I only went there because there were people there that were identifying their children.
Yeah, no, it's terrible. Let me tell you one thing. This is important because sometimes, it's not black, it's not white. There's also some gray between, okay? Don't mean that what I'm saying now, I have the absolute truth, but I'm just having an open mind to everything. I deeply believe that people have been killed there. That's a fact. That people killed. Now,
the Islamic terror cells are now active.
Now, let's put it this way. These Islamic cells, they are not allowed to go around this country, especially with the technology that we have, or the government have. They can track almost everything. Listen, the point is many times, it's been proven in history that the government, let's say, invite or open the gates and try to create situations for a crisis. That's a fact. The point is that we know very well, for example, the first bombing of the Twin Towers in the 90s, there was on the record that the person in charge of this, tried to detonate this bomb, was on the payroll of the FBI, and the guy was supposed to be a double agent, and it was on the official, it was on record, on video, on audio. So the point is, we know that they could at least be aware of what these people they were doing. And another important thing I want to know, though, what I like to say, first of all, the last 3 or 4 years in this part of this San Bernardino, the law enforcement, they've been doing drills of active shooters, and that's a fact. Now, it is interesting that the coincidence, the same time that these people, they did, or allegedly they did. We still, of course, now we need to go what they're telling us, but we know that somebody was killing people there. That's a fact. Happened exactly the same time of the active shooter. Now, another important thing that we need to talk, I want to have an open mind. Radical Muslim exists. I believe every Muslim that considers himself a good Muslim and follows the Prophet's rules and Holy Book, unfortunately, can be very dangerous. That's my humble opinion based on facts. So I'm not
My opinion based on facts is silence is consent.
Exactly.
And any Muslim out there that calls himself an American has to speak out, has to turn in these bastards, has to go ahead and report them. If they're afraid to make a phone call because they'll get beheaded, then all they have to do is drop a letter in the mailbox and address it to the Orange County Sheriff, to the San Bernardino County Sheriff, to the Yavapai County Sheriff.
Yeah.
And they don't even have to leave their name.
Exactly.
Just leave. Where are these bombs?
Yeah.
Where are these cells?
I mean, look at...
Where are these troops? If you're a Muslim and you're an American and you believe in this country, I do not accept or permit you to be silent, because if silence is consent, you are indirectly consenting to these terrorists.
Exactly. And this is my point. This is time we need to speak up. And I'm not going to go now in the final part of the show. I will talk more about what I really did a study, a research about the Quran and comparing it to other religions. But that's another point. This is the hour about guns. It's about also the hour about rights. Our right is under attack. I deeply believe, in my opinion, that this event at least is being manipulated, and we know that. That's a fact. The administration, Obama administration, he couldn't wait a second to use it to completely, in almost no logical way, but in this way, probably some idiots out there believe that there is a logic. That now the answer to try to avoid this situation in the future is to create more gun control, to disarm American people. That's exactly the point. One thing I can tell you, everybody should at least look using the logic. California, this experiment of gun control in this situation, this tragic event of the San Bernardino mass shooting, shows and proves that gun control doesn't work. That's exactly where criminals and terrorists can flourish. So number one, gun control doesn't work. That's a fact. More gun control is not going to work. Another important thing we need to consider, these policies now to have an unvetted numbers, thousands, hundreds of thousands of refugees that we have no idea where they're coming from in our country. This is exactly what, when somebody, like during the Trojan War, I'm sorry, somebody opening the gate to let the enemy inside. And they're doing that.
Okay. We do know where they're coming from. Here we go again with that politically correct speech. You're just repeating the They're coming from Saudi Arabia.
Not only that.
That man went in there and killed these 14 people and wounded 17 more, went to Saudi Arabia, married a woman, brought her back, and she is dead along with him because she fired weapons on these people, came into the room with him. She converted him. It's all coming from Saudi Arabia.
Listen, Saudi Arabia definitely...
enough of this. We don't know.
No, wait.
We know exactly what's going on.
Ron, let me tell you, Saudi
we know
Arabia...
it's coming from Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia...
We know it's ISIS. We know it's radical Islamic Muslim terrorism.
Ron.
And all the media wants to do is beat around the bush while we're getting killed.
Exactly, but my point is this one. I didn't say that I don't know that Saudi Arabia is involved. I know that since the time of 9/11. 9/11 is connected to Saudi Arabia. That's the point. My point is one, though, I'm saying now, the Obama administration is planning to allow to have hundreds of thousands of refugees that could come from anywhere in the Middle East. And the point, first of all, is a suicide at the economic level. We should not be able to pay for this. I mean, why should we pay for people now that we cannot even pay for our own people, number one? But more important, now that's become a national security problem. Even if 5% of 100,000 people, they are coming here and they have connections to terrorist links, and we know that that's a fact. Even the FBI is admitting that. They have no clue what's going on. We're going to have here, in our own home, on our land, we're going to have a war. And that's my point.
Luca, can I say something to you?
Of course, go ahead.
Will you give me 2 minutes?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
I opened this letter yesterday. I'm a Democrat. I told you that in your audience that.
Yes.
So I get a letter from Paul Cook, 8th District, California, which is our area here. Mm-hmm. Congress of the United States, House of Representatives, Washington, D.C. Even though I'm a Democrat, he sends me mail. Dear Ronald, can I read it?
Yeah, of course, go ahead.
A Republican, my opponent.
Yes.
The brutality and callousness of the recent ISIS attack in Paris, France should serve as a warning signal to democracies everywhere. Oh, by the way, Colonel Paul Cook is a retired colonel in the United States.
Yes.
My opponent, who I agree with 100%, This is not a Democrat or Republican thing going on now here, buddy.
Good.
We are under siege by an enemy that seeks to undermine the fundamental principles of human liberty and freedom. This conflict is about more than armies and territories. It is about ideas. Terrorists flying the flag of radical Islam are waging war against the West in order to spread their perverted brand of theocracy. If we are to defeat the most insidious threat of democracy since communism, the free nations of the world must not minimize the gravity of this situation. Despite contrary claims by the administration, I believe the threat of ISIS extends beyond Syria and Iraq. ISIS is proven capable of launching coordinated attacks in Western cities, and they have made it abundantly clear that they seek to attack the U.S. and destroy Western democracies. ISIS has also established camps in North Africa and is generating up to 6 million a day smuggling oil. I'm going to go on. The refugee crisis in Syria also poses a serious threat to the security of Western nations. Media reports indicate at least one terrorist involved in the Paris attacks arrived in Europe from Syria under the guise of seeking asylum. Recently, our President of the United States announced a plan to admit 10,000 Syrian refugees into the United States. Make no mistake, ISIS intends to capitalize on any security weakness in our immigration system. In light of recent events, by the way, this was sent 1 week before the murders in San Bernadino.
Wow.
I opened yesterday.
Wow, no, it's important. It's very important what you just read.
I believe immigration officials must first work to exclude known terrorists from entering this country. Unfortunately, the administration, under the current plan, cannot reliably vet their backgrounds to ensure our safety. While my heart goes out to the Syrian people who have been displaced by the outbreak of violence in our homeland, it is our duty to ensure the safety of American lives above all else. As a result, I have written to President Obama urging the Secretary of State to halt admissions of all refugees from Iraq and Syria conflict areas immediately.
Yeah, Ron, let me tell you one thing. I completely understand what you're saying. It's so important that, Republicans and Democrats, finally, you proved the point. This is not about parties. It's about, America first. We gotta use common sense. And the problem is one. I really deeply believe, and I'm speaking for myself, this is nobody else but Gianluca Zanna. I deeply believe that in Washington, we have a group of people, in this case, we have the main face is Mr. Obama, that they are not dumb, they are not stupid, but they are working for the enemies. That's the point. That's the point.
Exactly. And we have an election coming up.
Yes.
I have another one from the sheriff of Albany, New York, who is a Democrat.
Yes.
Okay?
Go ahead, please. That's very important. I heard about that. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's the sheriff for Albany, New York, which is the state capital of the state of New York. Okay? And here's what he says. I urge you to, and he's a Democrat. Okay? Now, this is the opponent of the one I just read to you. Mm-hmm. I got this. I urge you to responsibly take advantage of your legal right to carry a firearm. Ulster County Sheriff Paul Van Barklam, a Democrat, wrote on the department's Facebook less than 24 hours after 14 people were shot dead and 17 people injured in San Bernardino, California. The largely rural area of the Catskill Mountains, about 2 miles north of New York City, has 10,000 licensed handgun owners. The sheriff urged all of them people and all police officers, whether on active duty or retired, to never leave home without a firearm. Next. 2 years ago, Democrat, Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clark was accused by critics of promoting vigilantism when he aired a public service announcement urging residents to arm themselves for their own protection, citing budget cuts resulting in police layoffs, as was done here in San Bernardino. You have a duty to protect yourself and your family.
Yes, and that's my...
All across the country, Democrat, Republican, Americans first, are saying we have a problem here Get rid of this political agenda. It's not about Democrats. It's not about Republicans. We are Americans, and we have to arm every American citizen in this country.
Exactly. Ronald, let me stop you 1 second. This is what, the person, the regular person, the common sense person say. But unfortunately, the leadership, especially, I say in both parties, because the Republicans, in my opinion, they're as guilty too in many areas. But in this case, mostly, we know. I mean, look, I just played a few minutes ago, for example, Senator Boxer, that is for gun control, and she said gun control worked great in California after just what we've seen witnessing here, this drama. I mean, that was, after all, the area where all this crime happened, where this shooting happened, was a gun control, it was a gun-free zone. That's a fact. So now the point is, Obama, of course, he wants to now relaunch more gun control. And the scary thing, and that's even worse than people could imagine, not only try to go through Congress, that would be bad enough, but he knows that Congress is not going to go along with that. So now the little king, the little prince, is going to go through as a good tyrant through executive order. So I hope and pray every Democrat out there, like yourself, people have a common sense, understand what's going on, that we need to use logic here, okay? If criminals really don't care about your gun laws, why should we be penalized as Americans? Also, but something that is our right. This is not even something we should have a debate. It's our God-given right. But now, more important, Second Amendment. Now,
the poor part of this country saw this stuff coming.
Exactly. Now, I want to say something.
Against enemies, foreign
and domestic. And let me tell you about the domestic part, because I want to be sure my listeners, at least I want to give you my humble opinion, where I stand on this. I deeply believe that, yes, we have a real danger, and I talk many times, I've guessed, unfortunately, the Islam religion, if you're a good Muslim, I'm sorry, your book is violent, your book is full of hate, that's a fact, and I will talk more about in the final hour, and I'm not trying to bash anybody, seriously, if you respect me, I respect you, I never even talk about religion on this show, seriously. But the point now is different. I also believe that, unfortunately, governments use the useful idiots. They call also the patsy. Like I also talked many times during the show, that ISIS was funded by this administration, like Al-Qaeda was funded by the Bush administration. They need these trolls, this sort of mercenaries, this invisible enemy, with this enemy without face, to create the new global agenda. To go there and create wars, these illegal wars, they always need to be justified by this enemy. So ISIS is real because, unfortunately, we know Obama and people like McCain and this administration is been financing and training them. That's a fact. Now, also this administration is opening the borders, is opening the gate. The walls have been breached. We have enemies right now on our soil, not because these people, they were so smart, but because unfortunately they've been invited, or at least they've been let come in. That's the point. We have traitors in Washington, we have traitors in Homeland Security, we have traitors in the State Department. That's a fact. Now, I want to say a message to all the Americans. I don't care which party you are, I don't care if you're black, yellow, right, I don't care if you're what type of religion, if you're atheist, I don't care. This is about death or life. What we see now in San Bernardino is just a sample. It's just a taste. That could happen tomorrow in bigger scale in the next mall. And I tell you something, I believe also that these people, so that people understand where I'm coming from, yes, they are the useful idiots. I believe that when they follow the type of mantra and belief system, the cult system, they really hate and they would do harm to us. That's a fact. But I do not believe they could have done that by themselves. Because I'm telling you something, there are a lot of things that do not answer to logic, okay? And I want to play this little short CNN video, okay? First of all, the fact that these people, they were wearing masks is always something suspicious. Because after all, when you wear a mask, you could be anybody. I would like to remind all the Americans that they know better than me. After all, I wasn't born here. The magic keyword, Lee Harvey Oswald, okay? A patsy. We know very well that the man, he could have not done the job by himself. That's a fact. There was many other complications behind. So I wouldn't be surprised, and I have not all the proofs, but I say I have an open mind, that those two idiots, that they really believe probably that they need to do something bad, they were helped by somebody to perpetrate that. And let me play this little CNN, little short video that I think at least is going to this attorney from these bastards. They're going to have some good questions. Let me play this one second.
Where do you go with this in terms of how they explain how he went from someone they knew and loved to somebody who could do something so monstrous?
There's a lot of disconnects, and there's a lot of unknowns, and there's a lot of things that, quite frankly, don't add up or seem implausible. She was never involved in shooting. She's probably about 90 pounds, so it's unlikely she could even carry a weapon or wear some type of a vest or do any of this. Where the couple was found, from what I understand, is that they were handcuffed, lying face down in this truck, shot up. There's a lot of things that just don't make sense. No one has ever seen Saeed with any of the things that with some of the things they found on the scene. They haven't seen him with them.
Like what?
The pipe bombs, for example. No one had ever seen him use or have anything like that, and it just doesn't make sense for these two to be able to act like some kind of Bonnie and Clyde or something. It's just ridiculous. It doesn't add up. They don't have the military skills to carry out something like this, really.
Well,
frankly.
Authorities go back and forth on whether or not this shows sophistication or lack of sophistication in terms of how it was carried out. But are you saying that you're not sure that they did this?
I'm just telling you straight out that it doesn't make sense. It looks like if somebody had military training or something, yes, but there was none of that, and this person was not aggressive. We sat with the FBI for 3 hours, and they tried to identify some characteristics or some affiliations that he might have had that could have led him to act in this way, and they couldn't find anything. They were totally stumped, totally frustrated. In the media, some have said that it may be work-related, like he was disgruntled in some way, but really everyone is clueless because there's nothing that would characterize him to act in this manner.
Okay, Ron, are you there?
Yeah, I sure am. And who was that that was speaking?
Okay, this is exactly the attorney for the alleged perpetrators, okay? And I say alleged because at the end of the day, everybody deserves a trial, because I don't want to just go what the media's saying.
Oh, they're dead. We don't have to give them a trial now.
Yeah, I understand. There is no more trial. But this is the attorney.
No more trial. They're guilty. That attorney is a goddamn liar. And that's the kind of people we need to start looking at.
Okay, let me tell you something, though. I want to...
Covering up terrorist action with uncertainty on a national level is our problem. The Internet controls this world now.
I understand.
They get on there and they confuse America.
I understand.
They want us stupid. I'm here to tell you that in that house in Redlands, that these two people, after they were gratefully, thank you God, shot to death. When the police officers went into their house, they found an arsenal of weapons. This attorney saying there's no indication. You know what he wants? He's trying to figure out a lawsuit, how to get some money.
Let me give you something.
And the truth and the facts are they had IEDs in there.
Ronald.
They had bombs in there. They had thousands of rounds of ammunition in there.
Ronald.
There's two people that were in that goddamn rented van that jumped out of that van.
Ronald,
they
stop,
were dressed in black.
Ronald, stop a second. I got you. I want to have one thing, though.
He's a liar.
I understand, but I want to have some questions. On this show, I question everything. I question myself. So I want to always have an open mind to everything. Because this is the right attitude.
I'm open-minded when I tell you
let me
that
give you,
bastard needs to be locked up.
Let me tell you.
He's an attorney covering for these goddamn murderers.
Ronald, stop.
He's trying to inch some money out of us.
Ronald, stop a second. I need to put you 1 second on pause. Please, stop 1 second. I want to have some good logic questions here, okay? I said, I believe. Yes, people have been killed. That's a fact. Now, I believe that people can be used as proxies. Don't forget, I said the JFK and Kennedy assassination. There is proof that the government can use what they think they are their main agents of evil, but they're always backed by somebody. I have some logic questions too. I believe that, according to what I can see as evidence, that this woman and this man, by themselves, I find kind of hard to believe, unless they have a very specific training, they could have done all that by themselves. In the news...
Everybody was unarmed.
Let me finish, Ronald.
Into a room,
Ronald, let me finish.
One door in. You want facts?
Ronald,
there
1 second.
17 eyewitnesses.
I understand. Ronald.
Them that named them too.
Then I understand.
Those are the people you should be listening to.
I
Not
understand.
some damn attorney that's trying to figure out a way to
Ronald,
some money.
Let me stop 1 second, please. Please. Ronald, stop a second, please. And we are on the air. Use the language is FCC compliance. Otherwise, I need to do editing. Please, 1 second. I understand this is a very hot topic, but I have a question. First of all, you can answer to me. When the people walk into the room, these terrorists walk into the room, did they have masks on them or they were naked face? That's my main question for you.
No, they didn't have a mask on.
So, okay.
That guy wanted everybody to see him kill them.
How do you know
they
that?
They identified him. He was at the meeting. He left his jacket on the chair.
Okay.
He went out of the meeting. He comes back 15 minutes later with his wife. And they come in, open the door, everybody's looking at the front of the room, and they're staying in the back of the room at the door so no one could leave and shooting anyone trying to leave. That's what happened.
Okay, stop, please. Okay, good. Now, this fact at the beginning, because I'm going through the things that I heard through the media, at the beginning it's supposed to be, there are 3 shooters as in the news. Then they became 2. And at the beginning also we knew that they were also with masks. Now you tell me that...
Possibly 4.
Possibly 4. So you see, there is something that we need to start to realize. Maybe there were more than 2. Maybe there were more than 2. But my question is, why some of the media at the beginning, they were saying that they were having masks? I mean, now with masks, think about it. You can be anybody. And don't get me wrong. I can believe that these people really had an agenda and they wanted to follow through. The point is, they were able to do it by themselves or somebody was helping them out that we don't know. That's the question that I have. That's the point.
Here's a question I want you to get. Luca, we always have been friends. But you're putting on air the shooter's family attorney opinion, who is a goddamn bloodsucker trying to figure out how to get a settlement from the county. You know what I mean? So they can settle out of court, get a couple million, and walk away. And that's not going to happen here, and I'll make goddamn sure of it.
Ron,
I'm tired of these attorneys manipulating the media. How about let's ask the 17 witnesses that are surviving? Let's wait a week until they're willing to speak.
Ron,
they haven't even told the story, but this asshole jumps on the news.
1 second, Ron, please. We need to keep the language that otherwise...
I've just been talking to kids. They're bastards.
I understand, but listen, we are on the air. We are on the air. I have to follow the FCC rules, please. Otherwise, it's really going to become difficult.
There's nothing illegal about calling them murderers and bastards.
Yeah, but
that's what they are.
I understand. I'm talking about Ron.
You killed 14 people.
I understand, Ron, but please, 1 second.
I know we're supposed to call them gentlemen.
I didn't say that. I didn't. You can call whatever you want. The only thing, we have some magic words that I cannot repeat that you already said a few times. I need to edit. That's the point. That's the point.
I'm just trying to tell you that no one here is.
My point is what, Ron.
I'm not when you're murdering my people.
Hey, listen, nobody said to be calm. That's why I want you on the show, and that's why I want you give your witnessing as a person who lives there, that is, you're seeing things that we cannot see from here. That's why I brought you in. At the same time, as I said, I have always, in everything I do here, I always have an open mind on everything. And I'm not saying that what you're saying is not true. All I'm saying is this. Yes, we have in the history of, unfortunately, corrupted government, situations that the crisis that they've been at least manipulated, and we know that for sure, and that's a fact. The administration here is manipulating, using this crisis as advantage to destroy our Bill of Rights, to destroy our Second Amendment, and more to come. I'm sure you heard about Obama now, that he wants to try to do the same thing they've done also already with people on no-fly list. No due process, no judge, no trial. Just because the government doesn't like you for your ideas, they can put you on no-fly list. Now they try to do the same thing. If you are on no-fly list, you're also going to be on no-gun list. That's an overreach of power, completely against our due process, against our Bill of Rights. So my job here is to try to have at least an open mind and judge everything, or at least have a discussion about everything, and more important, to have an open mind, because I tell you, as I said again, these people may also be used as patsies, may be also being helped. That's the point, and that's a question mark. It doesn't mean that I know for sure. That's why I
have no question mark. They're a cell of radical Islamic Muslim terrorist cell here in the United States. I have no doubt the home that the police sheriffs broke into, the San Bernardino County sheriffs, with a battering ram and sent robots in first, when they actually entered the property, found thousands of rounds of ammunition, found IED bombs.
Ron, I'm not discussing that. My point is another one. Please listen to me. The point is, government have proven in the past that they were aware of potential terrorists and they let them operate. And they also somehow, they completely aided them. Okay, that's the point. There is part of a lot of history here, okay? And I can go through situations. I mean, don't forget that in Pensacola, Florida, one of the alleged hijacker 9/11 has been proven. There are documents. They were training there as a pilot. Okay, so that's the point. My point is this, yes, these people had an agenda. The same point is who helped them out? Was somebody behind? The government, they can find out anything about you. They can see anytime you make a phone call, everything is recorded, every email is watched, everything is spied on. You tell me that...
And this radio show is you can count on it.
Of course. And you tell me that didn't have any type of clue what's going on there? That's my question. That's the open mind that we should have.
I know 100% that we have an element in our government that needs to be exterminated like a cancer.
And that's my point.
And that's why we have an election coming up in 2016, and we got to get rid of all these people that are affiliated one way or the other, starting with Hillary Clinton and her crew. That's not real popular in the Democratic voice right now. I don't see Bernie Sanders being able to help in this terrorism effort. He's too nice guy, you know. We need a leader, and you know what? Until the Democrats come up with someone that is better than Donald Trump, I'm asking my Democrats, they don't have to say it, but when you vote, remember who's going to help us. That's pretty much going to get me thrown off the Democratic invitation list.
I understand.
But I mean it sincerely. I'd rather be an American and protect Americans than be an elected Democratic official right now.
I completely respect you for that.
We have a traitor in Congress. We have a traitor in the presidency. We have people that are taking money from the Saudis through contracts, including the Bush family.
Yes.
For 2 decades now, and we need to get rid of all those people and start with fresh, new Americans first. Democrat and Republican principles are second.
Exactly.
We need people that will defend the United States Constitution, that will defend the liberties of American citizens, that aren't afraid to go ahead and arm American citizens that are American citizens, disarm the felons, disarm the drug dealers, disarm ISIS, disarm Al-Qaeda in this country. Exactly. We need to be able to speak up and not, beat around the bush on this.
I know.
I have dead people here. Their families look in their face. You gotta look at their eyes, the tears, and then you understand why I swear that I am not going to permit this to happen in my district.
Perfect.
I call oath keepers. I've called other groups, and I'm asking them for their help. I've got to call in for, there's the 111. You're familiar with them. For roads,
Yes.
I'm calling Joe Arpaio down there.
Yes.
He's been saying this for 10 years in your state.
Yes,
in
it's true.
Phoenix.
And by the way,
I know, Joe.
Ron, 1 second.
I am done. And we're not going to sit here and lay back and be polite and politically correct. And Barbara Boxer needs to retire. So do the other ones to go home. You're done. You're 80 years old. You know, be one of those 70 virgins for them guys.
Okay, 1 second, Ron. 1 second, Ron. Stop 1 second, please. I completely understand, and I'm glad that you're doing what you're doing, because this is so important. You prove exactly the point that I hope every other person out there that is into the Democrat Party, start to understand that it's time to stop politics. We need to unite as Americans and just use our basic common sense and our Bill of Rights. That's the point. Now, I want to say a little bit, this is the hour about guns. Supposed to be, unfortunately, I'll get messed up, but this is an important conversation we're having. Now, before we go ahead, remind to our listeners where you're running for office, for which district exactly, and if they want to contact you, how they can contact you.
Well, I'm running for California State Senate District in San Bernardino County. That's the epicenter of this crisis. I'm running as a Democrat. You can contact me by going on to my website, foreclosureammunition.com. I'm an advocate of the Second Amendment. I'm a Democrat, but I believe that every American citizen family should have someone that is trained in their home to have arms in their home to defend their home. Male, female, doesn't matter. They need to get training. They can go to Front Sight if they need to.
Wow.
That's very highly recommended. If they need more information on that, I will give it to them. I don't want people running around with weapons that don't know what they're doing, crazies. Mm-hmm. I want intelligent, ex-military, armed, credentialed citizens that are responsible to be able to defend and protect the United States of America in a time of crisis. And this is indeed a time of crisis. Now, if anyone has any beefs with me, here's my phone number, 909-862-5789. But we need to get off the being polite point here. We need to get pissed off. We need to express our anger. Remember that silence is consent. We need to tell these Muslims, you can't just pretend like this isn't happening when you know what's going on. You have a duty, if you're an American, to report it.
Exactly.
There's a lot of people that knew these two people were coming. They didn't get all that ammunition. They didn't get all that stuff without people noticing. Exactly. But everybody's afraid.
Yes.
Because they don't want to be racially profiling people. They don't want to be politically incorrect. They don't want to say anything, so they do nothing. And our freedom, if we lose it, will be because of people who did nothing.
Exactly.
Not the enemy.
Right. Ron, 1 second. Time is going fast. This is so important. I mean, I wanted to talk a little bit about training, but I think what you were talking is more important right now. You're right. People need to speak up. Everybody. And I'm glad you're saying that. Now at this point, I hope everybody also in your party start to understand that we need to stop following the traitors in Washington or in the leadership that they're all being paid off. And we need to start to really to do what you're doing. Lead by the example. And regardless who is behind, if they start to shoot at you, you fight back. That's the bottom line. And then we sort it out. Because the point is they will use proxies, they will use crisis for their agenda. Meanwhile, they want us dead. Meanwhile, they need to create death. And we need to defend ourselves. Talking about defense, this is the hour we're supposed to talk a little bit about training.
Submit. They want us to bow down like Obama did when he went to Saudi Arabia.
Exactly.
It's the only president in the whole history of the United States that ever bowed.
Yeah, I know. This is so sad. Let me talk a little bit now. We touch, I don't say enough because, we could talk for 20 hours and there is still more information is going to come out. But now I would like to talk a little bit about the training part. There is so much, I wish everybody out there, the purpose of the show is to try to give you the opportunity to think at least that we need to prepare now. Prepare now means with your mind, but also with your training. Start to get training. Start to get your weapons now. And you mentioned something important. Front sight. Front sight is just one of the many solutions. But whatever you can find, do it now. Don't have that gun. Don't buy that gun and just let it sit in the safe. Start to go out and train. Ask for help. Maybe a veteran. Maybe somebody that you have in your family that is more familiar. But find training now. And then I hope the people of California, they will have the right, because unfortunately it's very hard to have the right to self-defense also outside their homes. I hope maybe you guys start to change the laws, and if you get elected, Ron, you're going to start to change the law and make it easier, like we have it in Arizona here, for the law-abiding person being able to carry a weapon, not just inside your home, but also in public, because we need to have guns with us. I mean, normally that's where exactly bad things happen. It's outside the houses. So we need to start to get in that type of mindset. Now, for the training part today, I'm sorry, time is almost out, but I wanted to say one thing only. When you train at the range, don't think you're training at the range. Start to make your training more realistic, because training like you are normally people may do, they got their bench or they're sitting down, that's not real life. You need to start to train thinking like normally you would carry your gun. If you carry your gun, normally you carry your holster. You don't go around walking around with your gun in your hand. So start to realize how to present and introduce the gun into the fight. The presentation is important, very important. Number one. Then if you conceal, of course, many of the states you must conceal, not like Arizona, you can also have open carry. But if you conceal, you must be training with the same concealed gear that you have. So don't start to train in a way at the range and then you conceal or carry the gun in a different way in real life. So please be very important that you understand that. Train as you would do in the real life. Now, another important thing, start to also understand that when you train, don't thinking that it's just a training. Visualize with your mind the reality. Somebody's trying to kill you. Try to put some stress in your training. I don't know, depends on your age. You can recreate stress. Could be if you're a young guy, do some push-ups, do some sort of a physical activity just before you start to train. If you're even just with your mind, visualize that you are in that room and people start shooting at you. And you start to recreate a type of emotion that even, of course, never going to be the same, but that you're going to have adrenaline going on. You're going to start to feel like real. And then you realize, admit your limitations. Don't think that under stress you're going to perform better. Under stress, we perform normally 50% less. So that's the point. This is the time that we have no more time. The enemy already breached the walls, is inside the wall. Our politicians in Washington open the gates. That's a fact. Americans, please, listen. For this time, I don't know how many times I'm going to be on the air, but I tell you, this is the time that we need to really unite and start to prepare, because the fight, it will happen on this soil. It's already happening. And unfortunately, our government, or what's supposed to be our government, is not going to be here to defend us, but they will try to disarm us. So it's time to stand up together. Democrats, Republicans. That's all I have to say. Ron, 60 seconds and I got to close. Go ahead.
Again, my thanks go out to the owners of KTOX, who happens to be the only radio station that I know that permits Americans here in our desert to be able to communicate with each other without, giving us, marching orders as to what we are allowed to say and we're not allowed to say. I hope you bleep out the 2 F words I used, but I can honestly say to anyone listening, if you're not as mad as I am about this, then you're not an American. You didn't see the faces on these people. You didn't see the tears. Parents, husbands. These were women, mostly women. You're going to see on the news maybe 4 or 5 guys that got shot. The rest were all women, defenseless. You're women. And men, stand up for your women. Quit being a punk.
Very good.
Grow up.
You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna, and thank you, Ron. I really appreciate for speaking up. That's the most important thing we can do right now. As you said, we need to speak up. Meanwhile, I want to share this song, The Line in the Sand, by Luca Zanna, and I remind you, this show is here because also of your help. Any one of you guys can help me out and support the show. Go to www.zanna.us and download any of my songs for just 99 cents. The Line in the Sand, don't go away. Ready for our number 3. We have an incredible guest, and now we know who the American government is labeling domestic terrorists. People like me and you, and I have one of them on the air right now telling a very nightmare story about a family. Don't go away. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom, and next is going to be Ammon Bundy from the Bundys family.
If you love wealth better than liberty, the tranquility of servitude than the animated contest of freedom, go from us in peace. We ask not your counsels or arms. Crouch down and lick the hands which feed you. May your chains sit lightly upon you, and may posterity forget that you were our countrymen. The line in the sand, you know the time is coming. The line in the sand, are you going to watch while we're fighting? The line in the sand, just tell me now where you're going to stand. How much more you're gonna take it? How much more you're gonna fake it? Now you decide what you'll do when they come. They'll come for you.
You see things are getting rough. They're getting rough. Line in the sand. Now's our time to stand. Our freedom is gone and you bought it. Don't close your eyes and ignore it. Are you so blind? Can't you see? Seconds before midnight.
Okay, guys, so this is the final hour, and another minute, sorry. I wanted to not apologize, but I would like to remind you that this is a real show, that we have real emotions here, and that people are genuinely mad, okay? I still have to comply, of course, with FCC rules, because the show is not just on the internet, but also on KTOX 1340 AM, and I apologize for the listeners that maybe they found a little bit of hot language here, but, you know, we always try to comply always with FCC. But the point is another one. We are really... Regardless what people may believe or not, on this show, I want to have an open mind about everything. And I will challenge myself if I have to. And I will challenge every official version from the government. That's the bottom line. So I want to say to my friend, O'Donnell, Ronald, listen, we have to have an open mind about everything. We should never be afraid to have a conversation about anything. Even if I had to bring people that we disagree here, like could be maybe this lawyer from the family, I think there are some valid points. Nothing is black and white. Sometimes it could be a lot of gray between. So that's the point. But one thing for sure, it's black and white, that this administration and government lied. The government has an agenda. This government especially has an agenda. They are trying to disarm us. Don't forget what happened with Fast and Furious, okay? That's a fact. They were trying to blame it on us when the, ATF was giving guns to the Mexican drug dealers. That's the fact. They were trying to create crisis to disarm the American people. That's the fact. And we need to have an open mind how they're doing that. That's my bottom line. So, listen, now don't go away. We are going for hour number 3. And please don't forget to go lovegunsfreedom.com, where also we have incredible gift section. Christmas is coming, and we need your support. I need your support to produce the show. Go to lovegunsfreedom.com. There is a Confederate gift section, and also there is an incredible kit for your dry practice for your Glock. Thank you very much. Don't go away. You're listening to Love Guns Freedom with Lucas Zanna. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Lucas Zanna on United States.fm.
Have you ever met someone on an online dating site and thought, wow, this guy is perfect for me, or she is simply amazing, only to find out they were hiding a deep, dark secret? They plan to vote for Hillary. FreedomLovers.us was created for singles who want to exchange ideas and a love for freedom. People who are looking for solutions to create and defend freedom in the real world, and at the same time getting that once-in-a-lifetime chance to find their true soulmate. Whether you are interested in meeting your soulmate, making new friends, networking, or hanging out with that like-minded liberty lover, visit freedomlovers.us. It's the first free dating site and community. So patriots, don't waste your time with other dating sites. freedomlovers.us is the place where like-minded singles really click.
Here we go. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Lucas Zanna on KTOX 1340 AM and on United States.fm network. This is the final hour, the hour about love. And as I said many times, love is a big word. You can love your wife, you can love your mother, you can love God. And I always say that love is the most powerful weapon that we have against evil. Today I would like to talk about loving our brothers and sisters, human beings, Americans in this case, and neighbors. Because things are happening. Evil is flourishing. You know why evil flourishes? Because unfortunately not enough good people, they're ready to stand up. That's why. Probably now you think, after all, it's not happening to me. Why should I bother to know what's happening to my next neighbor or to my other fellow out there? They always start like that. Tyranny, that's the way it's going to start to creep in. They will start first, with people that have a different interest. For example, they started with the ranchers. Remember last year, the Bundys, that family? After all, maybe you don't eat cows. Why do you care about that? Or maybe you're not a Mormon. Why should you care about that? You know what? Doesn't matter. This is not about religion. This is not about the fact if you may eat or not cow, or you may believe in cuddling and grazing fields. This is about that today it's happening to them. Tomorrow may happen to you. It's happening that is called tyranny, that we all fellow Americans, we all fellow humans. And we should be involved at least to know what's going on. And when somebody especially is in danger, just because of his political ideas, just because exercising the basic individual rights enumerated in our Bill of Rights, and try to, let's say, accomplish that type of goal that we're supposed to all be, at least, I don't want to say connected, but let's say we have a constitution that's supposed to be the supreme law of the land. And now, just because you believe in that concept, you may be declared a domestic terrorist. So that's the point. In this hour of love today, I want to bring back a guest that I had several times. He's one of the Bundys' sons, and his name exactly is Ammon. And why I want to bring him today? Because more important than every time, I really believe something's happening. I believe that the federal government needs to show who's boss, and went like like the mafia. There is a point that they may go away for a moment, but they will be back. And they will be back when less you expect it. And according to what I heard today, is witnessing, there is something very disturbing going on. I don't want to spoil the surprise. I want him to say exactly what's going on with him and with another family that I really believe they need our help. At least to listen, at least to learn what's going on with them. We cannot just go back to our life and think everything's okay because it's not happening in front of our front door. Because after all, it will be happening also there if we don't do something now. Ammon Bundy, are you there?
Yes.
Thank you, Ammon. Thank you for coming back. I watched your video. It was kind of disturbing because normally you don't go out like that. You're pretty much more private and you try to keep things under control. You don't go for false alarms. When I saw that video, I said, you know what? I really believe something bad at least is brewing there. Can you please tell pretty briefly the situation? Who is this other family that you've been talking to and why they are also in danger?
Well, the family that I've been working with or talking to is the Hammond Family. They're out of just 53 miles out of Burns, Oregon. They have a ranch there. It's Susie and Dwight Hammond, and then their son Stephen. And Susie and Dwight now are both 74 years old, so we're talking about they mostly passed the ranch on to their son Stephen. But for the last decade or more, they have been viciously attacked by the federal government, Bureau of Land Management, the Fish and Wildlife Service, because they want their ranch. It is right adjacent to the Malheur National Wildlife Refuge.
Wow.
So they also have private property up on the slopes of the Steen Mountains, and the federal government is desirous in taking their ranch. And the Hammonds have refused to sell them their ranch. They refuse to be intimidated in the taking of their ranch for many reasons. And so now the federal government has been very aggressive and predatory in taking their ranch.
Now, question. I read a story, and I remember that all the excuse that they had, the federal government had an excuse that this ranch, the Hammond family, was burning, it's called controlled burning, some part of the BLM. By the way, the BLM burns all day long in Arizona here, with chemicals, the accelerants that are really bad for the health. But when they do it, it's fine. And we're supposed to shut up and smoke it. Instead, when, let's say, a private slave, like, this poor man, tried to do something, by the way, there were no damages to property, what I read, and there were no damages to anybody. So it was just a burning. He got condemned to how many years in jail?
Well, they were sentenced to, Stephen, the son, was sentenced to 12 years.
Oh my God.
Or 12 months. And the father was sentenced to 3 months. They were also fined $400,000.
Oh my God.
And they were forced to sign a first right of refusal over to the federal government, meaning that if they sold, they were forced to sign a document that says they had to sell it to the federal government.
Oh my God.
They did spend that time in prison, federal prison, and they got out, felt that, even though it was completely wrong and that they did nothing wrong, they felt that they were through this and they could go back to ranch. But that wasn't enough for the federal government because it didn't get what their objective was, which is to take the ranch. So they went back for what they call a resentencing, and now are forcing the Hammonds to go back to prison for 5 more years.
Wait a second. Resentencing. Normally, I remember that in America, differently from Europe, where I'm from, Italy, we have double jeopardy. They cannot put you back in jail for the same crime. Am I wrong? Am I missing something here?
No, the Fifth Amendment basically establishes that the federal government or no government can charge you for the same crime twice. And they are certainly doing that here.
Wow.
Even though, again, this is just symptoms of a bigger problem, but they are certainly putting the Hammonds back into prison, and they don't call it double jeopardy. They call it resentencing. But the American people are not foolish.
Yeah, at the same time,
that's double jeopardy.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, you know what? This is the point that they're doing in front of our face. They're committing crimes in front of our face. It's like a rabid dog or a coyote that sees that there are no repercussion, and you start the first night to come and eat maybe one of your cows, and then the next night, if you don't, take care of business, they will come back in a pack and they will eat the rest of your pack of cows or the rest of your animals, okay? That's the bottom line. They're like a vicious beast, but cowards, and they try slowly to see how much is our line in the sand in this case. Now, this is very disturbing because I realize more than ever that what they were trying to do to you and your father and your family there in Nevada, this is a common disease from this federal government. They're following an agenda that many of us, at least many of my listeners, are aware of. It's called the complete control of our natural resources through Agenda 21. They may not call it that, but the idea that we, the people, we regular people, we're supposed not to have the right to use land, resources, water, and they want us out of these areas. So they will find every way they can. And I tell you, for me, I tell you something very strong now. Is me speaking, nobody else. I know they're listening, by the way, and I feel very sorry for you guys because if you work for the devil or if you work for this case for this type of Gestapo, you are a Gestapo too. There is no excuse. You're not just doing your duty. You are just a bunch of evil people that they chose your path. And you're worse than the mafia. I tell you, the mafia really realized they had much more honor, at least much more dignity, and at least you can shoot them back. Let the best man win. In this case, you are cowards because you have a badge and you think you're untouchable. I got news for you. You push a cat in the corner, you may find a lion pretty soon. So let's see exactly what's going on more in details. And I'm not trying here to advocate for any violence. I just say, guys, we need to start to realize that they're doing this now to this family, to the Hammond. They did that to the Bundys. They're trying, and they will try back and then ask you some questions about this is not going to be over. It's going to be after all of us. As I was saying before, we must get involved now. If you believe in love, this is the way we're going to start to use our brotherly love. Love your neighbor. That's the way we're going to start to do. I don't want just people going to church and, praying all day and start to feel like you're a saint. It's time to stand up and facing evil as a Christian would do, not being afraid. I'm not asking you to be violent, but at least do not be afraid. Now, back to you. I know something very disturbing. You were very much a friend, or at least try to help him out with your experience. And then you received a call from the Hammond, I think it was the father or the son, I'm not sure, but from one of the member of the family, and they told them what? What they told you?
Yeah, so after what happened is when the Hammonds have been literally abused and broken down, and they're very tired. They've spent a fortune on trying to defend themselves in a corrupt court. Upwards to over $500,000 in legal fees.
Oh my God!
And very tired, and all that's happened to them is they've just lost more and more of their rights. They've lost 3/4 of their ranch now. They've lost their water rights. They've lost their they've had to pay excessive fines and have been put into extreme financial difficulty many times through this period. And now they've lost their liberties. They've actually spent many months in federal prison.
Wow.
And so the federal government had almost accomplished what they wanted to accomplish with the Hammonds, almost beat them to the point where they were almost ready to give up. And I went in there because I just heard about them, and I felt divinely driven to go and find out what's going on with my brothers and sisters in Burns, Oregon, and with the Hammonds. And I went and I spent the day with them on the ranch, and then I spent the next day with them in Burns there, and they were able to explain to me everything, pretty much that was going on. And being somebody who had gone through it, I understood it very easily, and they were able to explain to me quite a bit. And I explained to them that the American people came to our defense and restored our rights to us, and that we are underneath the protection of the American people right now, and I'm talking about the Bundy family. And they began to grab hold of that hope. They began to say, I wonder if the American people will do the same thing for us, because the legal systems are unjust and they've done nothing but abuse us through them.
Yeah.
They've been the excuse of, that's been the justification of all this abuse, or the means in which a lot of this abuse has come about. And so they began to take hope that the American people may also defend them as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked with the Hammonds for 2 weeks. I visited their home multiple times.
Wow.
And I could see their spirits lifted and their hope be restored. And then what happened was, on Friday, the 20th, I believe it was, there was a message sent to the Hammonds through their attorney from the federal agency that if they did not continue, or if they did not discontinue communicating with me,
mm-hmm.
that there would be physical harm through a raid, and they would be detained early and taken to federal prison.
Wow. Now say again, this is the attorney that called you, right? Not even the Hammond anymore.
Well, the attorney didn't call me.
Okay, called the Hammond.
Dwight Hammond called me and relayed the information that came from their attorney.
Wow. And this is very interesting now. It's getting more and more. For the federal government to go to an attorney and say that there will be physical repercussion, we're talking about really a crime, criminals, okay, organized crime. We're talking about not even just anymore put you in jail for something that supposedly you did. We're talking about going there and we break your legs or we do some sort of a harm. Under which rule of law that applies? Under what type of excuse would be that? Just pure tyranny.
However, though, we've allowed them to come and break down our doors and raid our homes for so long now, that they think that it's completely justified.
Yeah.
And so that's what they did. They said, basically, if you don't stop communicating with, Ammon Bundy or the Bundys, but they did say Ammon Bundy, if you don't stop communicating with me,
mm-hmm.
we're going to come in and raid your homes, and possibly somebody might get hurt or killed.
Wow. This is so important.
And then we're going to detain you early and take you into federal prison early.
Detain you early means that they're going to go to jail anyway. They didn't say we're going to let you go. We're going to detain you early.
But here we have the holidays. It'll be the last. They're also trying to understand. They're now the mother, who is 74 years old, and Stephen's wife are the ones that are going to have to run the ranch for 5 years. They're trying to frantically prepare for those two women to run 600 head of cattle after they've been depressed to the point where they barely are surviving. They're trying to prepare for that, and the federal government is threatening that they're going to end the time that they've been given to prepare.
Wow. So I understand now. They're going to go to jail anyway. They got 5 years to spend. This is insane. And now this is so important. I don't know. I have just a little humble radio show, and I hope anybody out there who's listening can share this information. This is not about me. It's not about the show. It's about this message. This is probably, for me, one of the most evil things I heard since I came to this country, almost 18 years ago. Now, I would like to say something. This can be stopped. These bastards, and I hope they're hearing, what they count on, that's why they're so afraid of you. Because they're afraid that what you did with your family to make this public is like they are like a pack of roaches, okay? Think about these are like dirty roaches. They love to, grow up and reproduce themselves and have fun and feast like devils in the darkness. That's what they are. But when you put a spotlight on the roaches, what happens, especially summertime? They start to run around. That's the point. We need to put a spotlight on exactly what happened to this family, because I don't think enough people know in this country. After all, even with your tribulation that you had, you were kind of blessed because you were under the national spot, okay? You with your family. This Ammon family, not everybody knows about it. Must understand now we have law-abiding people, working people. They're going to spend 5 years in hardcore. We're talking about federal prison, where real criminals are. And why? Go check it out. Just because they were doing some cleaning with the fire. By the way, the federal government, the BLM, burned all day long in many parts of Arizona. And when you complain, they laugh at you. Okay? And that's the point. 5 years. I don't think even a rapist gets 5 years in jail. Okay? That's the bottom line. So, and now the story gets worse and worse. We're talking about intimidation. We're talking about First Amendment, the right to assemble, the right to speak freely. What is gone? I mean, this is insane. And now, by the way, you're already on the target. I mean, you're already a domestic terrorist, the last time I checked, especially at the airport. I'm being sarcastic. My point now, you got also some sort of extra for you, because what else? The message, for what I understood, that you are in danger too. Am I right or wrong?
Well, yeah, that was part of the message that Dwight relayed to me, that he felt that my life was in danger too. He actually was to the point that he felt that they were going to put a bullet in his head, and he worried about my life as well. That was his words exactly.
Wow.
After I got off the phone with Dwight, which is Dwight's the father, he's 74 years old. After I got off the phone with him, I called Susie. She's also 74 years old, and she confirmed to me everything that Dwight said. And she also said that we fear for our lives, they will put a bullet in our head.
Wow.
And
can we go public with the name of the attorney? Is the public, the guy is a public. You know the name of the attorney?
Yeah, I have it here, but let me see if I can get it quick enough. But, I don't know that I can pull it up fast enough for this conversation.
Take your time. Why I'm asking questions, when you can. First of all, I have a question for you, and just for the record. I know very well, I think I know you enough with your moral beliefs and religious belief, but I just want to be on the record. You, first of all, are you in pretty good shape right now? Did you have a physical check? Your heart is okay? Any type of diseases, strange things like going on with your health? Number one?
No, I'm very healthy. Very healthy.
Good. Are you ever, planning to commit any type of taking your life? Suicide, how they call it?
Absolutely not. I'm a very happy person that knows the Lord loves me.
Okay, this is important. At least we are on the record. And why? Because for history, we must start to show what's going on here, the criminal patterns of this organization. They're supposed to be to protect our rights. Instead, they are just destroying our rights, destroying our families, destroying our lives. Sorry. And maybe among you guys that you're listening, some of you that may be good people. You think at least you're good people. But maybe you need to start to realize that you're working for evil, because there is no excuse. When somebody's trying to intimidate somebody with violence, just because we're talking about exercising the First Amendment to talk and assembly, right there, there is no more excuse. You lost all the credibility right there. And did you find maybe the name of the attorney? Because I want all this public as much as possible. People can figure it out themselves and double check.
Well, the one thing that you have to realize is that because it's a federal court, they're forced to get two different attorneys. So Stephen has his own attorney, and Dwight and Susie have their own attorney. I don't understand that, but that's one of the federal rules, I guess, because they really want to make sure that you're paying lots of attorney fees. So
exactly. Wow.
You can't get one attorney to represent both of you. You have to get separate attorneys.
Yeah.
So let me see if I could pull up.
And meanwhile, you find looking for the attorney. Why do I want the attorney? Just because I want to give names. This is not a show about feelings, opinions. This is about facts. And I invite everybody out there to do not believe what we're talking here, to go to verify, do your own researches, and then look at yourself in the mirror tonight when you realize what we're talking is serious and it's real. As an American, if you're a veteran, if you're a former police officer, if you took an oath to defend this Constitution, but even if you didn't do that, if you are just a person that you consider yourself a decent human being, you know that now evil is destroying somebody else's life. You know that evil is having a great party time because they think they can get away with murder. We need to remind to evil that it's like, these little rats, after all, there are just few of them and millions of us. The moment that just 10%, 5% of us Americans, we take awareness that we the people, we're supposed to be the rulers in this country, and these people are supposed to work for us, not bossing us around like the lords and kings during the Middle Ages. We would take this country back like that in 1 second without firing a shot. Just showing up at some of our neighbors' doors, like what we did with the Bundys. We can do the same now with anybody out there in our neighborhood who needs help. Stand up. Show that you are not afraid. Show that we have a First Amendment, we have a Second Amendment, we have the rest of the Bill of Rights, and we're not going to give it away without a fight. That's the bottom line. So now I would like to ask you something. You're not talking anymore with Hammond, I guess, right?
Well, what happened was for several days there was no communication. But I did call them last week before Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
Susie answered the phone. She was a little nervous, but she did talk to me for a little bit.
Mm.
And then Susie left me a message on my phone, basically saying that they were leaving Burns to go to family for Thanksgiving, and that they would be in communication after Thanksgiving. But I have yet to, so that's the only communication that we had. Now, Susie, she's a really strong woman, and she's a really wonderful woman. And what I mean by that is she understands a lot of these things. She's done a tremendous amount of research and knows and understands what's going on. And she wants to stand, but her family is quite frightened. And in respect to, family decisions, she, has decided to end communications as well. Although I know that her desire and Dwight's desire is to try to get to the bottom of this and stand up for their rights. So they just need a little more time, and we need to keep loving them and understanding what they've gone through over the past decade.
Now, this is it's a nightmare. Honestly, I learned about the Hammond relatively recently. And, when I thought that with you guys was pretty much the worst, I realized that you are just one of many. And unfortunately, not other people have enough attention. We need to bring attention to any one of us who is going through this, I call it tribulation. This is a complete torture, okay? This is a torture. This is not justice. This is not due process. This is pure evil of act and cowardice of, unfortunately, somebody supposed to work for us. They are completely becoming our masters. Now, with you and your family, I don't think it's over. I mean, besides that, they're never going to forget about you. What's going on at the ranch with your dad down in Mesquite, Nevada? Anything new? Anything going on?
No, the only thing that's happened, because after we run the federal government out of there, remember there was at least five agencies that were involved,
mm-hmm.
that we know for sure. We run them out of the area, and warned them never to come back, and we have not seen them since.
Wow.
Except they've sent a contractor in to do some surveying on the waters.
Wow.
And the contractors got scared, and actually, because I guess there was some kids out spotlighting and shooting, like clear over the hill from them. And so, they got all scared and ran off.
When you're guilty, you are scared. You know that. That's part of a human behavior.
Yeah. So then they reported back that the Bundys were shooting at them.
Yeah,
so,
of course,
the sheriff did a small investigation and easily proved that there was no such thing, that there was even no tire tracks within a mile from where they were at. No
mm-hmm.
fresh tire tracks.
Yeah.
So, other than that, that's the only thing that we have heard. And of course, there's the nonstop threats through the media that they keep breathing out, even from the Democratic Party, clear up in Washington D.C. continues to, threaten. But we feel quite safe, and I'll tell you why. One is the good Lord's looking out for us, and He continues to do that, and made us a promise. But also, that promise is being fulfilled through the American people. The American people have much more power than they can ever imagine. Like you said earlier, they could end this problem in just a few days if they would, and if they would unite. The people is where the power is. And their power, meaning the federal government's illegal, unauthorized power, if you will, is actually quite pathetic when it comes to comparison to the American people.
It's like a paper tiger. I mean, the point is, it's like, the Wizard of Oz. Remember the movie? Behind the curtains, all that steaming and screaming and yelling. After all, it's a little dwarf, okay? That's what they are. And bottom line, they understand that at the end of the day, there will be a judgment on this earth and after. And I really believe, this is since the hour of love. I know I'm not here to preach. I'm just a regular sinner. But I tell you something. The point is, if you are a person who believes in good, I don't even say if you're a Christian. If you're a Christian, if you're any religion that you believe in good and evil, you understand that what we are facing now as a humanity, and in this case in America, because we are talking about an American tragedy here, this is about not just some sort of a political corruption or some scumbags in government trying to be kind of little bit too much. No, this is a battle of good against evil that right now we are fighting and facing in this dimension, in this reality. And regardless of what you think, even if you don't do anything, you think, after all, I'm not doing anything bad, I'm here. Guess what? Your silence is consent. The moment that you don't speak up, I'm not asking you to get your rifle and go out and start a revolution. I'm just start to speak up. Start to use that phone number. Your phone, our phone. Call these bastards of the BLM. Call these people that they're trying to, it's millions of us. Even if just we make like 100,000 phone calls to the corrupted judge. I really believe that any judge who is taking care of these type of cases, they have it in their pockets. We need to show him that we are here, we are watching. And we are taking side. And we choose. This is our time to choose, because whatever happens in this dimension, one day we will be judged. And we're going to be asked, what did you do when you have the chance to help your fellow humans, your fellow neighbor? What did you do? Did you at least stand up and speak up? Maybe you were too afraid to be put on that list, or maybe you wanted to keep your, life normal. And just, when people, they were screaming in the back and they were carrying them out in their trucks on the train, you were just silenced. Like what happened to the Jews or whatever other groups in Russia. There is a book I wish everybody could read. Archipelago Gulags. Okay, it's something that people by Solzhenitsyn or whatever, I don't pronounce it right, but I will post the link. Archipelago Gulag. Okay, this is the book that shows what happened in Russia when all this corruption and all this tyranny started to creep in and they started to get people one by one out of their homes in the middle of the night. And they had the chance to stop these aggressors. If only people would be involved, only people would open the window and start to throw probably pee and plates and dishes on their heads. There would be a start. Okay? It's millions of us. Don't forget. They want to make us believe that they are more than us. Is not the case. It's millions. All we have to do is stand up and show that we have a name, a face, and screw you. We are not afraid. We're going to be dead anyway. We're all going to die. That's the bottom line. Are you going to die as a coward, or are you all going to go away? And maybe we're going to avoid to die immediately, because I really believe more we are empowered with our courage. We must show to the enemies that we're not going to go away unless they're going to become aggressive. I believe that. Before I get too much emotional here, I want to give you the floor. Whatever you want to say about whatever you want to ask to people to do, you got the floor. I give you whatever time you want. Go ahead.
Well, I would like to just acknowledge that when I first found out about the Hammonds, I said to myself, man, there's a lot of injustices out there. And I'm very busy in trying to provide for my family, very busy in trying to continue to defend my family and our rights. And I thought to myself that, man, here's another family it's happening to, but what can I do? And that night I laid on my bed, getting ready to go to bed. I was tired. And the Lord made it very clear to me that I must get involved, that He is not pleased with what has happened to the Hammonds, and that it is my duty and my responsibility to stand for my brothers and sisters. And so I got up that night feeling very motivated, and I began to study. And I found out many, many things that have happened to the Hammond family, and how they've been abused, and literally how they have just struggled and suffered for over a decade.
Wow.
Through the hands of our federal government.
Wow. This is
and then I felt, again, motivated to do certain things. My point here is is that we must stand and defend our neighbors. And if we are to express the love, as you have put it, if we are to express love, it is coming to the defense of our neighbors and our loved ones when they are under distress. And the Hammonds certainly fit that category. And I intend to do everything that is within my ability to do to restore the Hammonds' rights back to them. I also know that what will happen to the Hammonds will be a type and a shadow of what will happen to the rest of Americans if we allow this to happen. Exactly. And it is time to stand, and it is time to be aware. And when the call is made, it is time to unite. Yes. And we make this right. Exactly. I completely believe what you say is so important. And I ask a prayer to all the listeners out there. You know, I'm not a big guy. I'm just a regular guy that I'm doing this really as act of love. Sometimes I don't even want to be here. But I tell you, if you're listening to this broadcasting, wherever you are, it's going to be on the radio or on the internet, on the YouTube. I ask you a favor. If you really want to forget about it, that's fine. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But if you have really compassion for another human being, try to start to think this is not just some movie. These are talking about real people, real families, a grandmother, a grandfather, kids, grandkids, people going to jail for no crime, really. And think about 10 years of their life destroyed. All their saving, they're going to be on the street. Nothing. Talking about drama, people may be dying. I mean, I'm amazed how much strength they had for 10 years to keep all their soul together. And some of them didn't jump in the river, seriously, because this is so stressful to deal with that. I ask you this favor if you're listening. First of all, document yourself. Don't believe me. Don't believe Ammon. Just document all the information we gave you. Do a research about this family. Learn about their life for a moment, okay? You may care so much about people coming from another country, that's fine. But care about, first of all, also our fellow Americans dying and crying here on the soil, okay? Please, number one. Number two, after you realize all this is real, I'm not asking you to do anything, but just start to share this information, maybe with your brother, with your mother, with your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, with your neighbors. I want this going out. Everybody should know what's happening to this family. And then at that point, you follow your heart, you know. And sometimes even just to make a phone call, maybe make a donation. I'm sure there is a way you can answer to this. Maybe you can call, find out exactly which agency is after them. Starting from the BLM, I'm sure they're involved there, of course. That's one of the main problems. Start to let them know you have a voice. So what are you doing to them? You may think that your voice is just one. Guess what? It's 300 million of us. Even if it was just 10,000 people, we'd be ready to spend a weekend as a vacation time. Instead of going to Disneyland, let's go everybody to the Oregon and camp on this. How many acres do they have, Ammon, on this land? They actually have on their private property, they actually have a couple thousand acres.
We have enough land to camp out, okay? Let's start to let's start to plan on our next budget for the family vacation. Let's go to Oregon and let's bring tents and guitars and whatever other recreational tools you want to do. Of course, we ask first the permission to the Hammond, and let's offer them like we offer to your family to come to visit you. And you say, of course. Let's offer that we are here alive. And maybe we can spend a vacation time there with you. And it would be nice to see maybe even just 1,000, 2,000 people showing up in front of this ranch. And then let's start to show to the federal government that, you know what, if you want to put us under 6 feet under, it's bad. You better bring a lot of shovels because it's a lot of us. Okay? And I'm not here to try to be like a John Wayne guy because I'm a regular guy. But I tell you, I'm not your slave. I didn't come all the way to America to lick your boots. That's the bottom line. Now, listen, Ammon, I pray for you and your family, and I really thank you to being out there and you know, going to Oregon, and you got enough problems out of your family, you know, take care, and I appreciate what you're doing, of course, also for them. But I really pray that the other people, the American people, they're getting more involved, and I hope so. Do they have a website, the Hammond? Do they have a website or a blog where people can find out more about them?
Yeah, well, we've used the Bundy blog spot, so it's the bundyranch.blogspot.com.
Okay.
And I would direct people to go to the facts and events.
Okay.
And read all of them because it basically takes from from the beginning of basically the ranches in that area down till the present time. And yeah, it might be, it's several pages, but I implore you to read it, to understand what's going on. And there's other supporting letters and things in there too, but the facts and events at the bundybranch.blogspot.com.
Very good. Listen, guys, first of all, thank you, listeners, for taking the time to try to inform yourself. But I want to thank Ammon for you, for all you're doing and your family. My best to you and all your brothers and sisters, and of course to your mom and dad. And we're here, maybe just regular people, but guess what? This is the time where regular people needs to be stepping up and doing extraordinary things. And the most extraordinary thing we can do is start not being afraid to face evil. That's it. That's it. I have a song I want to dedicate to the Hammond and to everybody out there who's not afraid to stand up for good. And the song is called I'm Not Afraid. Ammon, please keep me posted if there is anything going on, okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, guys, don't go away. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Lucas Zanna. This is the hour about love, and this is exactly what we need to do. Let's start to use our love to expose evil and not be afraid. I'm Not Afraid, musical lyrics by myself, Lucas Zanna. And by the way, this show is here because it's an act of love, and you can help out. With just 99 cents, you can download any of my songs, and I appreciate it, so I can be taking my time and dedicate my energy and everything I can just to be sharing this information. By the way, it's not fun, okay? I wish I could be doing other things, honestly. It doesn't really pay me enough to do this. It doesn't pay me at all. But the point is not about the money anymore. It's about our life and freedom. Okay, don't go away. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid.
Yeah, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Your rod and staff, they comfort me. I am not afraid, because you are with me. Na 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 I'm not afraid. Na, 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 na. I'm not afraid. Na, 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 na. I'm not afraid. Na, 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 na. I'm not afraid. Na, 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 na. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to face the truth. See evil in the eyes. Are you ready to stand for good? There's more than just this life. We are living in crazy times. If you believe it's a crime, I'm not afraid. Na, 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 na. I'm not afraid. Na, 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 na. I'm not afraid. Not afraid. I can smell pain in the air. People are lost in despair. Dark clouds are on the way. I pray for courage every day. I will fight till my last breath. You give me strength to smile at death. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. Because you're with me. I'm not afraid. Because I believe in you. not afraid. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid.
Okay, this is the final part of today's show. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I'm stressed out. There is so much going on. They've been today completely spraying the crap out of us in Mohave County, especially in Golden Valley, with chemtrails, weather modification. You have no idea, guys, or maybe you do because you live here too. And I know many of my listeners, they have been unfortunately understanding the same reality. It's happening also in your country, in Europe, in Switzerland, in Germany, in Ireland, in other parts of this United States. So it's very sad because it's not just something that is not that cute to see because they're trying to obscure the sun. It's also something you breathe and you feel it. It's in your body. It makes you feel really tired. I mean, this is something they're killing us. As simple as that. So if you don't know about it, it's time you really Google it and you find it because we have not much time. Weather modification / chemtrails are real. Okay, I'm sick and tired of all these politicians out there that they know the truth, but they're afraid to speak up because maybe they want to think that they can become ridiculous, or they try to, just be afraid of what people can say about it, or could be, I don't know, guys. I mean, seriously, Sonny Borrelli, why are you afraid to speak up? You know the truth. Why? You've been here, Representative Sonny Borrelli, you've been on my show with expert Rosalind Peterson for 2 hours. And you told me that you understand that something's going on. And now you, after 2 years, you still don't want to speak up. And so Senator Kelly Ward, I'm so sad for you guys, but we have no time anymore to play politically correctness. So anyway, I'm sorry, I'm tired about this, but today I really feel it in my body. Now, back to what's going on. This is the final hour. It's about love. This show, unfortunately, because of all these events that happened in the last few days, is being a little bit reshaped. San Bernardino County is not just the worst thing happened to us. It's happening much more. Our freedom of speech now is under attack. I don't know if you heard our Attorney General, that piece of trash called Loretta Lynch, vows to prosecute those who use anti-Muslim speech. And between quotes, that edges toward violence. I mean, now, you know very well, the Muslim can say everything they want in their mosque. They can say everything they want. But now people, just because we are talking about our mind, honestly, all I want to say is talking about fucks. I like to talk about fucks. And I'll tell you right now more about Muslim. I'm not going to be feeling intimidated by you, Loretta Lynch, piece of trash, that you are probably the worst. The other one was bad, but I think you're even worse than the other one that we had. It makes completely sense. This is not more our government. This is a pack of coyotes. You're a pack of communist bastards working for the New World Order that you try now to completely destroy our Constitution, Bill of Rights. So I'm not going to be shut up. Let me tell you now what I think about the Muslims, okay? I read the letter. I want to be very composed because I'm not trying to, I don't want to talk bad about anybody. Honestly, I love everybody that respect each other. Oh, seriously, I have no problems. You can do whatever you want. You can love the cat. You can worship your cat. You can worship your dog. You can worship yourself. I don't care. But I draw the line when your religion says in your book that I am an inferior, that I am somebody that I'm supposed to be converted, or I'm supposed to be paying a tax. I have a problem with that. That's the problem. So let me use this. I published a letter to the editor just about one was like a couple of weeks ago on the King Madeli Minor. And of course, I was about my letter about good Christian, good Muslim. It was very based on facts, okay? And I got the letter back exactly last Sunday, December the 2nd, 2015, by a lady called Mrs. French, Linda French. And she writes, and I write back my little, rebuttal, how you say it. I'm answering to Linda French letter to the editor of December the 2nd, 2015, where she mentions my name. Dear Mr. French, you stated in your letter to the editor this, between quotes. Obviously, Zanna knows next to nothing about Islam. Out there he spouts such blithering invective. Out there the minor printed. Okay, I wrote back to the miner. Hopefully they publish this letter as an answer to this lady. First of all, thanks God, here in Mojave County, Arizona, we are still in America, not Europe or some Islamic countries where I could not exercise my First Amendment for fear of persecution. Mrs. French. So thanks the King Madeli miner to allow me to share my opinion based on facts, not just on opinion, on feelings about the Muslim religion. Here are the facts, you like it or not. Directly from the Holy Scriptures of those two different religions, compared to different belief systems according to the preaching of their prophets. I remind you that Muslims are told that their prophet, Muhammad, is the most beautiful pattern of conduct and example for mankind to follow. This is directly from the Quran, 33:21, okay? As well as the exalted standard of character, Quran 68:4. Also, Christians are told to emulate Jesus, a pacifist and servant, and walk even as he walked. That was John 2.6. Now, let me tell you something. I'm not here a preacher. I'm not trying to convert anybody. I couldn't care less. Normally, I keep my religion for myself. Seriously. On top, I'm a sinner. I'm the last person I can preach to anybody. But let me tell you this. I'm talking about this now, those comparing to those two religions, especially with a scientific, humanistic mind, and I've just proved facts. And what is for me the main point? That we have a serious problem here, regardless then these idiots, these pawns, these extremists, as you want to call them. I don't call them extremists. People that act like they act. They're doing just following what the Quran says. That's the bottom line. And I'll make the case right now. But my point is, I'm sick and tired, seriously, to be politically correct. And I hear politically correctness all day long. That's the bottom line. Because I don't want to think that we are facing a Trojan horse in our country, that when we wake up in a few years from now, these people, they don't have assimilation. They don't have some sort of, how you want to say, understanding and accepting other religions. Unfortunately, now I'll prove my case. So, ignorance out there, Mrs. Linda French, how you called, you are an ignorant. And I'll prove you the case. Don't call me an ignorant, because I'll bring you on the show if you want to. I'll welcome you here. But let me bring you facts. Okay? And the bottom line here, I'm not here to preach. I'm just here as a with a scientific mind to analyze these facts. And then you will tell me if, unfortunately, I say unfortunately because I wish it wasn't true, the religion of peace, as Bush used to call it, is something that's compatible with the free society. Here we go. So, first part, I will cast terror into the hearts of those who disbelieve. Therefore, strike off their heads, cut their heads, and strike off every fingertip of them. This message of peace and love is from Allah. Quran 8:12. Okay? This is their main God that tells you what to do. Then, fight everyone in the way of Allah and kill those who disbelieve in Allah. So I do not believe in Allah. Supposedly, a good Muslim supposed to kill me. Simple as that. This is from Muhammad, IBN, Ishaq, I have no idea what it means, 992. It's one of their books, okay? Then Muhammad said, Allah does not love those who reject Islam. Quran 30:45, okay? And there are different parts. Instead, Jesus, and as I said, I'm not trying to preach Christianity, I'm just comparing, okay? Two different things, says, thou shalt love thy neighbor as yourself. Jesus, Matthew 5:14. Muhammad stoned women for adultery. Muslim 42:06. Jesus said, let he who is without sin cast the first stone. John 8:7. Okay, so let's compare reality here. Muhammad permitted stealing from unbelievers. Bukhari 44:668. Jesus said, you shall not steal. Matthew 19:18. Muhammad permitted lying. Sahih Muslim 6303 or Bukhari 49:857. Go find out. Okay? Jesus said, you should not bear false witness. Matthew 19:18. Let me continue because I want to really irritate this freaking, can I say bitch? I'm sure I can. Loretta Lynch, you are a bitch, okay? You are a fascist bitch. And don't tell me that I cannot say what I need to say here, okay? This is not Nazi Germany yet. Anyway, there is much more. Muhammad married 13 wives and kept sex slave. Bukhari 5:268. Jesus was a celibate, okay? Muhammad slept with a 9-year-old child. Sahih Muslim 33:09. Jesus did not have sex with sex children. And much more going on, Okay? Much more going on. So, dear Linda, I'm not pointing fingers to anybody and do not claim adherence to Christianity. I keep my religious belief private. But I'm here to share the facts of a reality that, unfortunately, the politically correctness of the media and many politicians will never allow to share. Guess what? I'm not going to shut up because of you, Loretta Lynch, of you, Linda French, because you have no clue what's going on here. I prove you with facts. This is a reality that can become the biggest Trojan horse against all the principles of a free society. I did my research, and I am unapologetic, and I stand by all the sources that I mentioned right now. Now, any one of you that disagree, I welcome you, and can you please show me the facts where I'm wrong with the sources that I just brought you? That's the bottom line. I'm just talking about facts. Now, another thing, to show how much these people, how they think, okay? I'm sure you're familiar with Saudi Arabia. By the way, they are behind the ISIS. By the way, they are ISIS, in my opinion. And they just threatened to sue any Twitter in the world who compares them to ISIS. Guess what? I don't compare you to ISIS. You are ISIS. You find in ISIS. Saudi Arabia, pig king. Okay? Saudi Arabia is the worst place in the world that we are here. The average American out there, the politically correct person, the lefty that have no clue what's going on, they want to somehow defend this type of cult, where if you were in Saudi Arabia, if you are gay, you would be stoned. Okay? If you're a woman, you would be treated like a dog, worse than a dog. And all these, liberal idiots out there, they have no freaking clue. But don't get me wrong, I understand very well it. Unfortunately, all these ISIS or extremists, as you want to call them, they are not only funded by the Saudis and also by part of our government, but also they are used as pawns to create more destruction, to create more tyranny in our country. So it is not just them. They believe in this stuff. I believe that. And I just read you the book, their book. I'm sorry, guys. And, you may be a great person. If you are a Muslim and you are a great person, guess what? Good. You are a good person. But does it mean that you are a good Muslim? If you are a good Muslim, that's your book. And that scares the hell out of me, your book. I'm sorry. I'm reading the New Testament. And if some of you in the left, you think, oh, look at the Bible. The Bible is so many parts of violence. Guess what? That's why I'm talking about Christianity. With the New Testament, everything that came with Christ. And I read to you just part of his message of love. And I said, I'm not even here as a Christian. I'm here just as a person that is not dumb. And I'm trying today, in a humanistic way, try to compare two systems. Because I tell you, this is not just about philosophy. This is not just about, okay, let's talk about abstract concept. When these people will take over politically and by numbers, like in Europe, our political system, we will face a new middle age of tyranny and complete destruction of our Bill of Rights. That's what I'm concerned today. So anyway, guys, this is it. Today was a very tough show for me. I'm telling you, I had a lot of emotions and I'm tired and I wish we could talk about better things. Seriously. I need your help because I'm very tired. Seriously. If you want to continue me to be on the show, I need your help. Go to my website, lovegunsfreedom.com. There is a section for gifts. You will see that confederate-gifts.us, or there is a section for music, or go to zana.us, my music. I need your support because I'm really putting a lot of energy. It's really draining me physically and mentally. And sometimes I wish I just could go away. And maybe I would go away. I don't know. Maybe I just say, whatever, guys, you got to do it on your own. But I need your help because I really need your support. And also just, sometimes your moral support really helps. So anyway, thank you very much. Thank you for putting up with me. I want to leave you with a message of love. After all, here, we're all human beings. But I tell you, don't mess with me. Don't mess with my freedom. And don't tell me to shut up. Otherwise, I'm going to put your middle finger in between your eyes, okay? Thank you very much. You've been listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna. And don't forget to lovegunsfreedom.com. And God's willing, I will talk to you next Sunday.
You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna on United States.FM Network.